Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chaos Child. We most recently broke into the hospital again looking for our phone, and this time we ended up hiding in the morgue from some suspicious people who then revealed a secret doorway in the back of the morgue behind a concealed wall that leads somewhere. We've walked down some stairs to a sub-basement, which we have no clue what's going on. We didn't tell anyone we're going here, so nobody knows what the fuck's going. Nobody's gonna know anything if we disappear. And we found a door. What kind of door? I don't know. I'm betting we're gonna find some sketchy shit at the bottom of this door. Or through this door. So let's find out what happens. Oh, we ran to a door. Alright, we'd probably gone down about a floor. Seems fair, so maybe like, what, 20 steps? Go down about a floor. Okay, maybe 30. I turned the knob. It opened easily. Maybe it hadn't been locked to begin with. Okay. What is this place? Well, we've clearly found a secret sub-basement underneath the hospital. It was a dimly lit, musty-smelling hallway. It was clear the place hadn't been abandoned, and there wasn't a layer of dust everywhere. It was clear the place hadn't been abandoned, and there wasn't a layer of dust everywhere. Okay, so he's saying it's not abandoned, it's in heavy use because there's no dust. Okay. It even felt like it had been cleaned. It was some interesting use of negatives there, where I was like, that seems like a weird flow. I wouldn't have said that. I would have said, like, it's seen use and there's no dust. Or something like that. It's seen heavy use, the place is well kept, there's no dust. It felt so old, but it felt so old. How does it feel old? Everything in this city is new, right? There was a sense of desolation, as if no one had wanted to use this place for anything for a very long time. Okay. Had it been like this since the hospital above us was built? This air, I knew it. Oh dear. The sides of my head started to hurt as the horrible memories came back. Taku, is this? Oh, she sees it too. This is the place they went when they broke into it many years ago, right? Yeah. Sarika seemed to remember too. That's right, this was the place. I didn't know how we'd done it. I mean, there was a big conspiracy. The music wasn't quite Metal Gear Solid music, but I feel like we're building to something big plot-wise as to why people were dying. We already found out Psychic exists. Metal Gear Solid had Psychic. Psycho Mantis is in the first game. But when we were kids, the two of us had snuck in here to the basement of the AH Tokyo General Hospital. Oh, you did it when you were kids. Nice. Right? This is actually the place they were. Okay, they were trying to investigate an urban legend about Amy. How did they find it the first time? And then Sarika and I... We'd seen it. I tried to avoid thinking about it as much as I possibly could, but I'd failed. The memory would come back to me and then fade and then come back. As I'd grown up, I'd even tried convincing myself I'd never seen anything at all. They still haven't explained what they actually saw. It's like someone being experimented on, maybe? That's like the natural negative conclusion, is like some unethical experiments happening in the basement of the hospital that they witnessed. But they haven't clarified anything about it. It might be someone getting some weird experimental procedure done. It might be them doing surgery to try and create psychics, like who knows? Create or understand psychics, like who knows? The way the plot's going, I think it's probably like something like that. Something to do with psychics. Anyway. Alright, I'd failed at that too. It was unreal, like something out of a nightmare, but something in my heart told me it was real. And it was real after all. Hey, it's the first time we've actually seen this with a freeze frame. Alright, we got a girl in what appears to be a straitjacket with a ball gag wearing some funky headpiece. They basically... looks like they put some screws into her head and put headphones on her where they're forcing her to stare at... her eyes don't appear to be taped open, but they're forcing her to stare at some visuals. It's fading in and out. Pink hair. Looks like a blue ribbon in it. And a bunch of coats. Alright. Cool, so, we'll see how this goes. Yes, it was real. I was sure of it. And the girl's asking for help. Oh, great. Well, this doesn't seem unethical at all. Perfectly reasonable. Most people in hospitals beg for help. Right? Right? Oh boy, he's gonna start screaming. Okay, let's go, I don't like this place, let's go! And of course, like any reasonable characters who are sneaking into a secret sub-basement without telling anyone, their first instinct while they get into the first floor is to start screaming. Our protagonist has a panic attack and starts yelling, and Sarika starts screeching, or at least yelling. She wasn't whispering, at any rate. What's gotten into you two? Yeah, that's what I'd be like. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you two idiots? What happened to being sneaky at all costs? I swear to God. Shinji, like, as dumb as he was being 5 minutes ago, he deserves kudos for being like, what the fuck is wrong with you two here? Shut the fuck up and get back to sneaking. Ito realized there was something wrong with Sarika and I and tried to pull us back up the stairs, but we couldn't do that. Right, so one of you is screaming, the other one's like having a panic attack, but you're not going to withdraw. There were suddenly footsteps behind us. I could hear what sounded like the panting of a beast behind me. I could feel its warm, stinking breath on my neck. Something's there. Suddenly our voice is echoey. I couldn't turn around. I wanted to fall to the ground in terror. Our character is literally so terrified of footsteps that he is incapable of acting sometimes. Oh my god, come on, man. But if I did that, I knew somehow the thing behind me would attack. Suddenly I heard Sarika's thin, frail voice. She should have been right next to me, but for some reason I couldn't see her. Oh no. Oh no. And then her voice cut off, and there was the sound of something being crushed. And the sound of what sounded like somebody kneading a ball of meat. And mixed with it was the sound of snapping bones. And Shinji's just like, Ito turned around and suddenly froze with terror. Miyashiro, what is that? The hell is that? No, you idiot, don't look. If you look, it'll kill you. Don't look. A bloody piece of meat fell to the ground at our feet. It was what used to be Sarika. Ito screamed. I couldn't help myself. I turned around to look at what he was seeing, and what I saw was... a giant with a sumo mask. Oh, that is moderately terrifying. Alright. That's our new monster in all its glory. Something with the face of a sumo face mask. Probably about 12 feet tall. Long black nails? They don't look like talons, they actually look like regular nails that are really long. They look like a giant with a weird head. Apart from looking like a weird head, this isn't actually that terrifying, right? If it hadn't murdered someone. It was standing there, moaning in a voice that was filled with hatred and pain. So Sarika's dead? And, Kilomaniacs. What was that? What the hell was that? Could be someone else. That is a huge person. They're crouched over in a hall. A hall is normally 8 feet tall, right? A normal room has 8-foot ceilings. So that person is like 10, 12 feet tall. They're huge. A giant woman with a head like a sumo sticker. This could be a mask, I'll be honest. It was almost like a bad joke I wanted to laugh. The hilarious looking monster was gonna be what killed me? What the hell kind of death is that? That's right, laugh. Laugh. If you laugh, that thing isn't scary at all. Then he starts laughing maniacally. I'm feeling like he might be deluded. It'd be a really weird ending if we walked down here and just all died and it was like the end. The giant woman's hand stretched out for me. I also think her hair reminds me of the detective. What's the lady? The detective assistant lady. The one who's super rude. Reminds me of her. I don't remember her name, but you know, the one who's like super smart and working with the detective. As it moaned in pain, its arms moved in to crush me. And suddenly my vision went black. I couldn't see anything. And then I realized it had probably crushed my eyes. The hilarious looking sumo sticker woman had crushed my eyes. I was gonna be torn apart like Sarika and killed. It was the funniest thing in the world. Could you even imagine anything stupider? Hey, what are you doing? Suddenly I heard a sharp voice next to me. Something moved over my mouth to stop me from laughing. I was grabbed from behind by thin but powerful arms were wrapped around my neck. It hurt, I couldn't breathe. Stay quiet, don't make any more loud noises. Your eyes have been gouged out. You probably have skull fractures from the amount of force that thing exerted on your head, but okay. And now he's being strangled. Alright. If you promise to stay quiet, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll choke you until you pass out. I nodded as hard as I could, and then the hands around my neck relaxed and it became easier to breathe. He's breathing heavily. My vision came back at the same time. Whoever had grabbed me had covered my eyes as well as my mouth. They hadn't been crushed after all. Where's the woman? Where's that monster? Calm down. I doubled over in pain as she punched me in the stomach. I could feel stomach acid coming up into my throat and burning it, but the pain made my head feel much clearer. When I looked up, I didn't see a monster with the head of a sumo sticker anymore. Just a dark, musty hallway. What? Was that just a hallucination? Oh, Sorika's fine. Wow, we had like the most vivid hallucination. Are you alright? No, wait, what? What did I... You had some kind of fit and then you started to yell. We almost panicked too, and then Kunosato came to help us. The detective's assistant? Kunosato, wasn't that... Oh right, the girl with Shinjo? I did say it looked like the girl like with Shinjo, right? Goddamn amateur. What are you even doing in a place like this? Yes, I remember the cold voice. I looked back at the speaker. That's her. See? See? Doesn't look like
というわ
someone
けではなさそうだ
brought you
な。
here, which means
まさか忍び込んできたのか。
did you sneak in here?
どうやって。
どうって。
How? How?
私たちですらここのキーを入手するのにかなりの苦労を強いられたんだ。
Even we had the hell of a time getting the key to this place. How did you get in here? Well, you see, someone stole my phone and started calling me with the same threatening shit that's killed like 10 people. So we started investigating it. But our character's not going to say that. Sure, we had a bit of a bad time in the autopsy room, but it hadn't really been hard to get here. None of the doors had been locked. When I told her that, Kunosato glared at us with suspicious eyes.
Kunosato-san?
Kunosato?
まあいい。とにかく邪魔だ。今すぐ帰れ。
So the person sending us that call who hacked our phone was Kunosato? Or one of her colleagues? That's super suspicious. We should tell her we're here for our fucking phone and you should give it back. And not make any creepy calls with it. And then maybe ask her how she did that, but, you know, she wouldn't tell us that anyway. Whatever, anyway, you're in the way. Go home. You literally stole my phone.
おいおい、そりゃないだろ。助けてくれたのは感謝するけどさ、いきなり邪魔者扱いとか。
You can't do this, Jill. I appreciate you saving us, but you can't just... The next instant, Kunosato closed the gap between Ito and herself and started strangling him.
騒ぐなと言ったのが聞こえなかったのか。
Told you not to make noise. Did you not hear me? Ito nodded, tears coming out of his eyes. I could understand why. I didn't know how she could store so much power in her tiny body. I just felt it for myself. Is that genius with superhuman strength? Good shit, good shit. Ito rubbed his throat in pain as she let him go.
もう一度言う。邪魔だ。帰れ。
Say it again. You're in the way. Now go. Her voice was intimidating enough that I almost obeyed, but we'd come here for a reason. And... this place had something to do with our past. If I could, I wanted to find out what happened then. Maybe we could be rid of the nightmare that had been making us suffer for so long. Even though she scared me, I needed to tell her straight.
僕たちは
We...
私たちはやらなきゃいけないことがあってきたんです。そんな風に頭ごなしに帰れって言われても帰れません。
Sarika, giving an answer that is both vague and specific at the same time. I don't know how you manage that kind of ambiguity, but good job. You managed to tell her absolutely nothing while telling telling her you're here, so she can be like, what the fuck are you here for? That's so important. Alright. We're here because we have something to do. We can't go home because you tell us to. Okay.
おのえ
That's what I was trying to say.
おのえ。お前。おのえ、セリカか。
You're Onoe Serika? Yes?
そうですけど。
Yeah, that's right.
何か
What is it?
いや、とにかく帰るんだ。
Nothing, just leave.
危険なのは分かってます。
I know
で
it's
も
dangerous, but we
僕た
have
ちだっ
to...
てどうしても。
誰がお前たちの心配をしている？
Said I was worried about you.
え
We're in her way.
私は私の目的があってここにいる。お前たちに勝手な行動をさ
I'm
れ
here
て、
for my own reasons. I don't
その
want you
目的の遂行を邪魔さ
keeping
れ
me
ては
from doing
困
what
る
I
と。
came here to do. Seems
そう
fair.
言ってるんだ。
Seems fair. Well, guess what? We're here for our own shit too, so suck a dick. How cold?
その目的って何なんです？
Why are you here then?
お前たちには関係ない。
It's got nothing to do with you. Oh? Oh? Is it? Is that really so? She turned around and started to walk away.
いいですよ。だったら僕たちも勝手にしますから。
Fine. We'll do what we want then.
しますから。
We will.
何？
What? What do you expect us to do? You're being useless. You're being useless and commanding. Anyway, she turned around and stared at us, her glare like a fierce panther's. Fuck a dick. I swallowed my words, but Sarika didn't.
理由も話せないような人の言うことになんて従いません。
We're not going to leave unless if you won't even tell us why. Fair enough.
貴様
You. How dare you ask me to tell you why I'm ordering you, despite the fact that I'm like fucking 14. Fuck off.
さあ、タク、
Come on,
しんちゃんも行こう。急いでタクのスマホ見つけなきゃ。
let's get that phone back.
ああ。
Yeah.
やっぱ女っていざって時強えな。
Women are strong when it counts. Apparently so, Shinji. Apparently so. Ito whispered in my ear.
ちだったらおとなしくついてこい。私の言うことに逆らうなよ。
Fine, follow me then. Just do what I tell you, okay?
いいんすか？
Is that alright? Ito had become very polite towards her after she strangled him. Is Ito into that? Guess we'll find
時
out.
間がないんだ。
There's no time.
しかも、
It's taken a lot of
こ
careful
こまで慎
investigation
重
to
に
get
調
this far.
査を進めてきたのに、
Careful
お前た
investigation?
ちが見つかったり、
Bruh, we
騒
like
ぎを起こされでもした
we
ら、
like literally found this place in
水の
5
泡になる。
minutes. How are you this bad at your job, Mio? Anyway, it's taken a lot of careful investigation to get this far. I don't want you getting found or causing a fuss and then ruining everything. Her arrogant manner was almost enough to make me talk back to her, but then I realized something. If she'd done careful investigation, that meant she had information we didn't. Wouldn't it be better to pretend to obey for now?
それで
Ah, this
最後にはこっちが利用し
the
て
end we can use you. Well,
話
good
は
luck
終
with
わ
that.
り
You don't seem to be
だ。
able
壁沿い
to.
に
Our,
静かについてこい。
our protagonist isn't
大きな音や
capable
声を
of
出すな。
navigating a hallway without having a panic attack, and he's like, I'll use you. Like, no, it's like you're gonna be useless whenever it matters, man. Come on. We're done talking. Follow me along the wall. No loud noises or talking. She looked down the hallway and then moved over to the wall. Then she started to move quickly and quietly. I made eye contact with Ito and Sarika, then followed her. The further down the hall we went, the darker it got. The lights were sporadically placed, and half of them were burnt out. You had to look carefully to see more than a few meters ahead. The only things I had to guide me were the black-haired girl in front of me and the wall I was touching with my hand. The wall hadn't been repaired for a long time. In some places, the paint had fallen off, and in parts, steel beams underneath were exposed. It must have been built a long, long time ago. We walked through the underground labyrinth as quietly as we could. None of my 5 senses were of any use to me now, and I had no idea where I was or how I'd gotten there. Kunosada seemed to know exactly where she was going, though. Looking back, maybe we were lucky to meet her.
なんだ
What's that? I had no idea how long we'd been walking, but we finally came to a part of the hallway with a row of doors on the opposite wall. The doors were made of steel and looked very strong. On the upper part of each was what looked like a number plate. There were tiny windows on the doors, but they had thick bars on them. They looked like the solitary confinement cells I'd seen on a TV show once. Secret prison?
この中に人が
Or underground insane asylum? Are there people in there? No, no way. The space beyond the bars was pitch black. I couldn't tell if there was anything inside.
なんか気味悪いな。
Kinda creepy. Dude, she said shut up. If you're gonna follow her instructions, at least actually do
だ
it.
から
Shut up and
黙っ
keep
て歩け。
walking. Thank you. Hospitals are scary, you never get sick. This is like your average hospital. It's fucking terrifying, man.
すいません。
Sorry. Ito quickly apologized, but Kunosada turned around, walked up to him, and wrapped her hand around his throat again. I'm telling you, I think Ito likes it.
遊びじゃないんだ。
Not playing around here. You're gonna get killed.
死ぬぞ。
That's all. Ito nodded again and again until she finally glared at him one last time and let him go. He put his hand to his throat and moaned a little. It was obvious Kunosada wasn't messing around. Maybe this place was more dangerous than I thought. Wait. Suddenly I heard the sound of someone pounding the door from the inside.
Huh?
Someone was inside. Can none of you guys like hold your mouths shut for 5 minutes?
なんなんだよ。
What's going on? Literally nobody being quiet here.
静かにしろ。
Quiet, don't
騒
make
ぐ
a
な。
fuss. But I'm screaming. We almost screamed, but when we saw Kunosada's glare, we quickly put our hands on our mouths. My god, Kay, can you, like, just think of how dumb do these people have to be to actually react to this? Like, just be quiet. It's not hard. Be like, okay. Okay, moderately scaring, moving on. Like, the first pounding, you should, like, instantly freeze and not scream. The second one, you should be like, I shouldn't speak, and just be quiet. There's nothing terrifying about someone pounding on a door. Come on, man. Especially if it's like a prison cell or an insane asylum. Come on, you know this. We quickly put our hands over our mouth. The hell was that voice? Oh no. Average hospital in Canada? I guess so. I haven't been in a Canadian hospital in so long. Yeah, it may as well be like that. Tarika tugged frantically at my arm. Ito grabbed onto me too. I wanted to cling to someone, but there was no one for me to grab.
あれあっちの
I can see
扉の
eyes
中から
behind the door.
何
I looked over where Ito was pointing and tried to see for myself, but I couldn't see anything.
気のせいだろ
You're imagining it, man. I'm sure I saw. There's definitely eyes.
確かに見た間違いなく目だった
Can these guys seriously not, like, stop panicking for 5 minutes? I swear to God. Oh my god. Now there's a girl singing idly in the background. Oh no, she's singing! My god, someone's making noise! Now there was singing. Yeah, the South Park's Ghostbusters equivalent, where they all panic over, or react to basically nothing. I could hear a girl singing in a tiny, barely audible voice. Creak, creak. A woman was pushing an old baby carriage down the hallway towards us. She was the one singing. Why is there a carriage in her room? Oh my god. Sarika and Ito cringed in terror. My heart was beating so fast and loud I could hear the sound echoing in my ear.
止まれ。壁に張り付いてじっとしている。向こうにはこっちが見えていない。
Don't move. Get close to the wall and stay put. She can't see us. But, what?
いいから喋るな。
Don't talk. Kunisada pushed her back up against the wall and stopped breathing. We did the same, our bodies shaking with fear as we moved.
もっとお歌歌ってほしいのね。
Do you want me to sing some more, right? The sound of the creaking old carriage got closer and closer as the woman passed near us. Kunisada was right, her eyes were hazy and out of focus. She didn't seem to notice us. But she was only a meter away. More singing. More creepy singing. Slowly, slowly. She sang as she pushed the carriage right past us. Ito was so terrified his body started to spasm. He gave a small cry. Dude, these guys are literally screaming at just one person walking by. Can you imagine what they'd do if they actually saw? Oh wait, our character would just laugh. We've already seen what happens. The woman stopped right in front of us and slowly turned around. Her empty eyes stared at us and then slowly, jerkily, like a broken machine, she tilted her head. We clung to the wall and held our breath, unable to move a muscle. We were too scared to even close our eyes. I couldn't take anymore. I wanted out. I wanted to get away from here. If I stayed here another minute, I was gonna go crazy. The woman stared at us at what felt like hours. What felt like hours. But then she looked forward once more as if nothing had happened and started to walk again. Yeah, these guys need to take a lesson from Mayuriko-chan and just not react. Practice not reacting to normal things, like someone walking down a hallway in a well-lit hallway. And then they can start trying not to react to actually terrifying things. Come on, guys. A page from Mayuriko-chan's scrapbook would be amazing. We almost collapsed to the ground in relief. I couldn't take my eyes off her as she disappeared into the darkness. Look, they can just practice, they can practice not flinching horribly by playing, the first round of Squid Game in real life. How's that sound? If they get shot and killed, then they're no longer in the story, and they also will stop flinching. And if they don't die, they'll stop flinching and panicking at moderately scary things. Alright. I couldn't take my eyes off her as she disappeared into the darkness. Do you understand what kind of place you're in now? Even as we'd been almost crushed by the terror, Kunosato had been completely calm. I don't care if you want to go home. It's too late now. That room is what we're here for. Kunosato moved away from the wall and stared straight in front of us. That room? I followed her gaze to a pair of double doors in the darkness. They were different than the others. They looked like the doors to a normal lab. Come, don't fall behind. Kunosato headed towards the doors, seeming completely unafraid. Sarika's legs were shaking too much for her to move, so Ito and I helped her as we followed. Imagine failing a fear check that hard. Alright, guys. Nothing actually happened, though. When we got to the door, Kunosato took out what looked like a keycard from her skirt pocket. The door had a modern electronic lock, unlike the others we'd seen so far. Put the keycard after the reader, and the door swung open silently, except it distinctly sounds like she put in a password. She disappeared into the room, and we quickly followed. We all gasped as we entered the room. An entire wall of the room was lined with monitors, probably set up to observe something, but every one of them was off, so there was no way to tell what. It was hard to believe someone would set up something like this in a normal hospital.
Hey.
Yes? Kunosato turned toward Ito and gave him an order in a flat, emotionless voice. You can at least stand guard. Listen for any sounds outside the door and let me know if anyone comes.
Okay.
Roger. Kunosato nodded and looked around the room, then headed straight for a computer. She took a look at the wiring behind it and flipped the power switch. The machine started to make a low noise. Works? I mean, if they left the computer there, it probably works. You can tell by looking at it, right?
でも勝手に立ち上げたりして大丈夫なんすかね?
Is it okay to just boot it up like that?
どうして?
Why?
だってネットで繋がってたりしたら動かしてることバレるんじゃ。
It's connected to the net. They might know you turned it on.
心配ない。こいつがスタンドアローンだということは確認してある。
Don't worry, I've confirmed it's a standalone system. Oh, that explained it. If that's true, at least we wouldn't have to worry about someone seeing it from the outside.
お前たちが思いつくようなことを私が考えないとでも思ったのか。バカにするなよ。
Did you think any ideas you could come up with I wouldn't have come up with already? Don't insult me like that. She was as obnoxious as ever. Neither of us know the first thing about you, though, so can you really blame us? Was something neither Ito or I could say. The OS on the computer booted up. I looked at the screen and saw Kunosato was entering some kind of password. The password was accepted and the screen filled with folders. And she already knows this guy's login info. She opened them up and began carefully checking the contents of each one. Unfortunately, many files were written in English and we had no idea what they said. Joke's on you, she can read them. We don't know if she can speak English. Kunisada, however, was reading through each one and nodding.
これはフォルダ自体にパスがかかってるな。
This whole
と
folder's
い
got
う
a
ことは
password on
こ
it.
の先か。
Which means this is where. She seems to be trying to unlock the password at incredible speed.
ああ。なんだよ。
What?
彼女、
You
学
ever
校で
seen
見
her
た
at
こと
school?
あるか？
いや、
No.
どうしてだ？
学校にいたんだよ。うちの制服着て。だから、うちの生徒のはずなんだけど。
She was at school wearing our uniform, so she's probably a
お前も
student.
見たことないのか？
But I guess you've never seen her either, huh?
マジかよ、それ。
Serious? Ito seemed more shocked than I expected.
嘘だろ。
Kidding, right? Right?
俺がチェックしてなかっ
You telling me I missed a pretty girl like this? She hates you, so she'd probably avoid you. Not only was she attractive, she seemed incredibly smart and had an arrogant attitude that made her nothing like the other students. If she'd been coming to school, she would have stood out in both a good and a bad way. But Ito didn't know her?
何を調べてるんですか？
What are you looking at? Sarika asked the question both Ito and I had been too afraid to ask. I was sure she'd be told to shut up, but
この施設で何が行われていたか。
what they're doing here at this facility seems like a good plan. She answered Sarika's question much more easily than I expected. Are you still typing this much? Maybe I could ask something too.
この施設って病院とは何か関係が？
Does this facility have something to do with the hospital? Man, she's spending an awful lot of time doing something that isn't copy pasting. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if I was trying to get some information and it was in a folder, I'd probably just copy paste the fucking folder, man. Just copy paste the whole damn folder. And if you're using command prompt, yeah, use Xcopy or something. Use Xcopy and just the whole folder into your own portable hard drive and be done with it. Unless the folder's like absolutely monstrous, you should be able to do that. Like, what she should have done if she was trying to infiltrate a facility and retrieve data is come with like an external hard drive and just load the entire hard drive, right? But apparently she's trying to break a password. But they didn't mention like a USB key or anything, so she's not like automatically applying an algorithm. Is she writing something? Is she gonna write a script to hack the password on this password protected folder? Or I guess to brute force it? Does the facility have something to do with the hospital?
黙ってろと言っただろうが。
Told you to shut up. Damn it. Why was I getting treated so differently? Was it because Sarika's a girl? Was it because she's one of, those types? Don't tell me she normally dresses and acts like a boy. That would explain why Ito didn't know her. Kunosato ignored me and typed in a series of commands, then opened what looked like a top secret file. And then?
タレット。
That's it. She smiled for the first time I'd ever seen and clicked on a file. And then something appeared on the screen. Was it some kind of drawing? A strange picture drawn in ink and paint.
何これ？落書き？
What's this? An ink
いや
blot?
違う。あれは
Oh, I'd seen it somewhere before. That was
そうか。ロールシャッハテストだ。
Rorschach test, which uses like ink blots. Yep. 2 high-fiving bears? That's what you're seeing? 2 high-fiving bears? Could they be koalas? And one of them is missing. They're each missing a leg. A vase in the middle? A vase in the middle? I don't know. It could be a rocket ship in the middle. A weird, it could be like one of those, badminton birdie in the middle. It looks like if it's gonna be 2 people on either, if it's gonna be 2 creatures on either side, it looks like each of them has a heavily injured leg. I'm trying to figure out And probably right arm, if I was guessing. Right arm. Based on the... If I assume the red is blood, the guy on the right has an injured right arm and left leg, and the other one has the opposite. A rabbit with bleeding limbs? They could be rabbits. I feel like the forearms are long for rabbits. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Alright, a Rorschach test. I remembered reading about them in an issue of Cool Cat Press.
ほう。抜けた顔しているが、最低限の知識はあるようだな。
You may look stupid, but I guess you have some bare minimum of knowledge. I wasn't sure if that was a compliment or an insult.
ロールシャハテスト
Rorschach test.
あれだ。確か性格診断かなんかの。
It's a kind of personality test, right?
そう。インクのシミでできた全く意味のない図形が何に見えるかで、その人の性格や思考が分析できるんだ。
That's right. You look at a meaningless drawing made from ink stains, and what you see reveals things about your personality and how you think.
正確に言えば、インクのシミを落とした紙を真ん中で折り曲げ、
Ooh.
それで生じた左右
We
対
were a
称
wrong
の図形
sider
を
and
使う
gave a bad explanation. Feels bad, man. More precisely, use ink splashed on a folded paper to create a symmetrical picture. Like Kunosato said, all the pictures on the screen were almost perfectly symmetrical.
ただし、ロールシャッハテスト自体、果たして精神分析法として有効かどうか、
There's doubts
疑
as to
問
whether
視も
the
されているんだがな。
Rorschach test actually functions as a psychoanalytical tool. That's fair. Kunosato was studying the screen
っ
intently.
てことは、ここはその上にある精神科と同じような施設だったということですか？
Which means this is a psych ward, like the one upstairs? If that was the case, I could imagine what these monitors were there for. They were there to look at each of the patient's rooms. That would mean this was a medical facility that treated illnesses. At least, that's what I wanted it to mean. Because... that thing Sarika and I had seen as a child. The strange atmosphere we'd sensed. And that voice I could still hear in my ears. We had abandoned her and ran from this place. So if that wasn't some kind of torture chamber and this place was actually curing her, Sarika and I would be free of the guilt that had been with us for so long. My hopes?
違う。
No.
ここはそんな生優しい場所じゃない。
This place isn't anything like that. We're quickly dashed by Kunosato's answer. Right? She opened another folder, filled with reports written in Japanese this time.
セ
Perfect.
ンスへの断続的刺激による臨床実験。ロブスに与える電気信号とフェノメノン。
Clinical trials involving intermittent pulses to the senses, electrical pulse signals to the lobes and their effect on the phenomenon.
思った通り、ここでは脳科学方面からのアプローチによる臨床実験が行われていたようだな。
Just as I thought, they're doing clinical trials from a brain science perspective. That's right. They were doing some unethical experiments down here, of course.
脳科学
A brain science
臨床
perspective.
実験って
Clinical trial? Yeah, I have a weird concern actually. Now, if we go back to the shot of the person, their hair is concerningly exactly the same as Sarika's hair color. Does that not bother anybody? Like, it's a very close color to Sarika's hair color. And I'm thinking, that might have been Sarika in the chair? Maybe? Could it have been Sarika? I mean, our character has a lot of... Like, our character has a lot of PTSD. Or something. Like, he has some serious mental issues. So his memories may not be... of that time period may not be reliable. But then again... Like, how did we meet Sarika? She was our childhood friend, apparently? We'll see. So, clinical trials, brain science perspective?
うるさい。
Shut up.
余計な口を挟むな。
でも僕のよく知ってる子がここにいたかもしれないんです。
I think there might be a girl I know here.
何？
What? I lied. I didn't know who she was. But if I didn't lie, I didn't feel like she was going to tell me anything. Just as I expected, when she turned around and saw the faint glimmerings of interest... We saw the faint glimmer of interest in me on Kunisada's face. What? I gave her a brief description of what I'd witnessed here so long ago. Kunisada bit her lip, her expression different from before. Then she forced herself to look back at the computer.
それは間違いなく人体実験だ。
Yeah, that was definitely a human experiment.
人体実験
This many monitors are clearly for monitoring a lot of things at the same time. This could be a security room. So like half of these could just be attached to like cameras. Recent ones. Human experiment? No, remember this isn't connected to the internet, so it has to be something somewhat local. So there's like only a short list of things that could be relevant. You're monitoring vitals, you're monitoring cameras, you're monitoring something, some internal network, something like I don't know. Oh, then that makes... I meant she was... That horrible vision started to eat away at me again.
簡単に言えば人間の脳をいじる実験だよ。
In the simplest terms, they are experimenting by screwing around with the human brain.
脳をいじるってそんな
Screwing around with the brain, but you can't...
だから言っただろ。ここはそんな生優しい場所じゃないと。
I told you, this place isn't anything like what you thought it was. Kunisada was trying to keep her face as expressionless as possible. And then the second she opened another file, she gasped a little. I could see the words on the screen as well.
ちょっと待て
Wait a minute, what is
なん
this?
だよあれ
She was completely focused on reading the report, so she didn't notice I was looking over her shoulder as well.
超感覚的知覚に関する臨床実験特殊な事象異変を発現させるための具体的傾向
Clinical trials on supersensory perception, a practical approach to generation of special event selection. Oh my god, they're investigating... Like, I know it's kind of obvious, but they're investigating... We already called it, but they're investigating ESP. Alright, so we got scientists doing unethical things, experimenting on people who may have or attempting to produce superhuman abilities. Alright, wonderful. They made it sound really technical, but this is just ESP. What were event fluctuations? Kunisada clicked the mouse to move to the next page. Kunisada is highly inefficient for once. Can someone please explain to me how someone who is obsessively doing everything via keyboard changed to the mouse for navigating a PDF or Word document? It's called page down, lady. It's on the keyboard. I read along with her.
視覚刺激による発症的中率 9.25%
Pathogenesis via visual stimulation accuracy rating 9.25%.
中脳辺縁系ニューロンのドーパミン分泌の誘発による発現
Manifestation via induced dopamine emission in the central limbic system.
視床下部損傷と切除発症見られず思考のトレースリモートビューイング妄想の増幅による事象への影響
Damage and removal of hypothalamic area, no pathogenesis seen, thought tracing, remote viewing, influence on events via amplified delusions. Oh, that's curious. We got remote viewing and influence on events via amplified delusions. Very curious. Very curious. Two things we think we've seen before. Over half the report was filled with specialized language I didn't really understand. By desperately connecting the words I did know, I managed to make some sense out of the report. And...
まさか
No way.
そんなことが
I was stunned. Was that really possible? The girl who'd cried for us for help was being experimented on here? And the point of those experiments was
人間
exercise.
の脳をいじって 超常的な特殊能力を発症させる実験？
Alter the human brain to give it supernatural powers? That explained why Shinjo and Kunosada were talking about psychics. And that was the commonality I'd suspected behind the murders. This character is really bad at telling people what he's thinking. She'd respect him a lot more if he's like, so it's, if he's like, all the people were psychic, right?
おい
Wait. Kunosada caught me looking and threatened me in a low voice, but I didn't have time to worry about that.
これ本当なんですか？こんな SF みたいなことが本当に。
Our character can't digest information in silence and needs to scream about it. Okay. Is this true? It's like science fiction. She looked unhappy but gave in.
実験自体は随分と前から行われていたようだ。というよりもこの病院自体がその実験のカモフラージュのために建てられたと考えてもいい。
The experiments seem to have been going on for quite a while. Actually, it's safe to assume the entire point of this hospital was camouflage for the experiments.
この病院が？
Whole hospital? Yep.
ああ
Yep.
それで
Is it still...
今は？
はあ
Huh?
今は行われてるんですか？
Are the experiments still going on? That was true. Was she still
い
here?
やある出来事をきっかけに中止されたらしい。
No, they were cancelled after a certain event. Something?
中止されたのはちょうど6年前。2009年11月6日。
They were cancelled exactly 6 years ago on November 6th, 2009.
それって
That's
渋谷地震の日。
the day of the Shibuya earthquake.
地震のせいで研究どころじゃなくなったのか。
Earthquake caused too much damage for them to continue their research? No, the cause of the earthquake is their research.
いや違うな。
No.
この病院は震源域の外
Oh,
だ。
really? The
被害は全く受けてい
hospital is
ない。
well away from the epicenter. There was no damage at all.
じゃあどうして？
And why?
だからそれを探って。
That's why I'm trying to find it. Kunosada stopped short and clicked her tongue. You must have decided she told us too much.
いいからおとなしくしていろ。
Be quiet. She pushed me away from the screen lightly. It looked like she didn't want me to read anymore. Huh? What's this?
これは
What's this? Kunosada's hand froze on the mouse. She was staring intently at the screen. Then she started talking to herself.
11番目のロールシャッハが脳に与える影響。
The effect of the 11th Rorschach on the brain. The 11th? She had just knocked me away so I couldn't see the screen, but I couldn't help but lean forward. Her voice was just that strange.
どうしたんですか？
What's wrong?
ロールシャッハテストには10種類の絵しか存在しない。11番目なんて聞いたことも。
There's only 10 Rorschach tests.
だから黙ってろ
I've
お
never
前。
heard of an 11th. Shut up, you. Kunosada turned around and glared at me. When she did, I caught a glimpse of the monitor. The screen was filled with thumbnails of the different Rorschach tests. Kunosada was just about to click on this mysterious 11th Rorschach. She clicked to open the file. When she did, what appeared on the screen was
力士シール。
the sumo stickers. And we're going into a delusion again, ladies and gentlemen. What was going on? I felt sick. I couldn't stand. I collapsed to the floor. It felt like something was crawling from the bottom of my intestines. That something was bugs. Tiny, slimy bugs with little feet crawling up from my stomach into my throat, scattering disgusting fluids behind them as they moved. The disgusting crawling sensation passed through my throat and out into my mouth. What the hell were these things? Stop! Help me! I feel sick! Help me! Get out of my body!
たく
Fuck you.
たくしっかりしてよ
Step out
た
of
く
it,
ってば
Taku. Why is Sarika talking like she's drunk or high? And this guy's having a hard time looking at a couple pictures, man. Did I fall asleep? No, that wasn't it. I looked at the screen and gotten sick and then passed out. Where was I? My head felt awfully cold.
なんだか気持ちがいいね。
Feels kind of good. I could hear Sarika's voice. I couldn't see her. Where was I?
ほら見て見て。しんちゃんたらあんな格好になってる。
Look at Shin. Ito was here.
私とタクもお揃いだね。
You and I are matching, talking. Matching? What was she talking about? When I looked to the side and saw it, my head cleared instantly. Sarika was next to me, lying in the same kind of seat I'd seen the girl in the visions sitting in. What was strange was her head. There was something on top of it, slimy and pink. No, that wasn't it. That was her brain. Oh look, they conveniently saved us from any of the actual gore by like having the top faded out. The top of Sarika's skull was completely gone, with several electrodes sticking out of what remained. I suddenly heard a high-pitched voice from the other side. It took some time before I realized the voice belonged to Ito. That's how insane it sounds. That's Ito, apparently. Damn, alright. Oh, you can see the needles. You can see the tips of the needles. You can see the tips of the electrodes sticking out of his head, and you can see like a faint amount of blood near the top of his forehead. Like it just cuts back a little bit too early. Nice. They give you enough detail so you can tell what's going on, but not enough to give you a clear picture. Nice, nice. I couldn't tell if Ito was screaming in pain or pleasure. His brain was exposed and part of it seemed to be missing.
気持ちいいね。タク。
Doesn't it feel good, Tuck? I tried to move but was held down tight and couldn't budge. We start screaming, let me go, let me go, let me go.
動くな。
Don't move. Oh, it's Kunisada. I heard a cold voice from above my head. Is she gonna slap us out of the delusion? The voice was...
今すぐお前もあいつのようにしてやる。
I'll make you just like him now, so stay
じっ
put.
としているがいい。
Yeah, this visual novel is a little bit messed up, but it's really interesting. I also appreciate that even when there's boring things happening, the delusions keep things really spiced up. So like, our character is hallucinating this completely fucked up scenario, and instead of describing it, they just like put us through it like it's real, and then they're like, yeah, it's a joke, sorry man. They're like, yeah, it's a joke, Bagley, but you're still gonna have to like witness it like it's real. Kind of interesting. It feels like our character is like a little bit schizo, or at least has delusions, has some like serious delusions. He's seriously deluded at times, which keeps things interesting. Although like some of them I'd say are like, okay, that's like a reasonable, or like maybe like for that character, reasonable fantasy or something to imagine, but like, some of these are pretty serious, especially these ones that are involuntary. A lot of the positive and negative choice ones, you can just not have a delusion and move on. Something cold touched my head. At least that's how it felt. Can you imagine having to go through life with like these crazy delusions every time, where you legitimately just start screaming in terror every time you break, because you can't tell if they're real or not? That'd be pretty rough. It felt good. Like my brain was going to melt, and soon I wasn't sure where I ended, and the rest of the world began. And we're back. Just panting heavily. What? What? Where was I? I was back in the basement. Like, our character... See, that wasn't just our character having, like, this weird fantasy. He's legitimately lost. Like, he's like, we're here? How are we in the basement? Like, it's not like he was idly just, like, bored and kind of, like, fantasizing about crazy things or had a vision of something terrifying. He actually lost himself in his delusion. I was back in the basement.
Toku, 大丈夫?
Are you okay? Yeah.
大丈夫だ。
Oh, alright.
起きられるか？ほら。
You stand up? Here. He just slowly helped me to my feet.
悪い。僕、どうしたんだ？
Sorry, what happened to me?
画面にね、例の怖いシールがいきなりアップになったからびっくりしたんだよ。それで転んでタクは頭を打っちゃって。
That creepy sticker suddenly appeared on the screen. You got scared, so you tripped and hit your head.
そうか。
I see. I rubbed the back of my head, and sure enough, there was a big bump. Kunasato was staring at me from in front of the screen. I thought she was going to complain again, but instead she pulled me up to look at the screen.
確かめてもらいたいことができた。
There's something I want you to tell me. Tell me.
あのシールなら許してください。なんか気分が優れなくて。
If it's that sticker, I'd rather not. I don't feel well.
いや、あれじゃない。いいから来い。
That's not it. Just come here.
見るなって言ったり、見ろって言ったり。
You want me not to look, then you want me to look. Yeah, I know. Hot and cold. It's her game. Suddenly the minute you have value, she's like, oh, you can help.
なんだ。
What?
わかりましたよ。
Fine. Since it was clear she wasn't going to take no for an answer, I stood next to her.
お前に確認してほしいのは、
This is
こ
the
のファイ
final
ルだ。
I want you to look at. Kunasato tapped the report on the screen with her nails.
11番目のロールシャン派。さっきの画像に何らかの効果があるとみなされて、初めて実験に使用されたのが2007年とある。
It was found the 11th Rorschach. That image that you just saw had some kind of effect, and the first experiments were performed in 2007, it says. 2007 was 2 years before the quake. That was right about the time people started seeing the sumo stickers, if I remembered correctly, and that was the same year we'd snuck in here to find the truth about the urban legend of Amy. I took the mouse and read the next part.
自称変異を起こす素養を持つ存在のみが人の顔を模したように見える11番目の画像に対し通常の人間とは異なる反応を示す。そのことが判明した。
It was found that those with the potential to cause event variations respond differently to the 11th Rorschach than other subjects.
この症状が最初に観測されたのは被験体番号第79号南沢千里からであり
This phenomenon was first observed in subject 79 Senri Minamisawa. And then I stopped scrolling down the screen. There was a picture of the girl there.
どうだ。
Well, do you know
そ
this
の子に
girl?
見覚えがあるか。
タク、
This girl?
この子。
あ
Remember her? That was the girl. That was the girl we'd seen that day. So they went through 80 people with this shit before they found someone. That's messed up. That was the girl who'd seen us and begged for help. Kunasato looked at me.
さっき話していた、この施設にいたかもしれない友達というのは。
It's the friend you were saying might be kept here, right?
はい。
I wasn't sure how to answer, but I decided to keep up the lie that she was my friend. The truth was, I'd only now learned that her name was Senri Minamisawa.
そうか。
Kunasato looked very sad. I didn't know she was capable of looking that way. She stared at the picture of Senri Minamisawa on the screen.
私はお前のことを嫌いだが、ここで苦しんでいた友達をずっと忘れないでいることには
It's only a half
敬意
lie.
を払ってもいい。
You don't really know them. You just know that they were imprisoned here. I don't like you. No, but I'm willing to show respect for the fact you've never forgotten your friend who suffered here.
Huh?
Her eyes grew a little softer. I felt a cold sweat as I looked at them.
違う。
It wasn't out of friendship I'd never be able to It wasn't out of friendship that I'd never been able to forget the girl named Sanri Minamisawa. It was because she was in my nightmare, but I couldn't say that. All I could do was try and make it hard to tell what I was really thinking.
本当は救いたかったのに、それができなかった。でも、それは仕方のないことだ。気に病むことはない。
You wanted to save her, but you couldn't. But that's not your fault. You don't need to blame yourself.
そうじゃない。違うんだ。
That's not it. That's not what happened. I'd been too afraid to save her and I'd abandoned her.
今、彼女はどうしているんだろう。
What's she doing now, I wonder? Yunosada didn't realize what I was thinking, though. She called up more data on the girl named Sanri Minamisawa.
彼女は11番目の画像で特殊な兆候を見せた被験者としてかなり強引な実験を受けていたようだ。
Since she showed special symptoms in response to the 11th image, she was the subject of rather forceful experiments, but she survived. Forceful experiments? The kind that could kill you? When I heard that, I almost threw up. I did my best to keep Kunosada from finding out.
だが、渋谷地震の時に運悪く震源域に居合わせて、それ以降は行方不明ということになっているな。
She was close to the epicenter of the Shibuya quake, and since then she's been missing.
行方不明
Missing?
いや、正確には、この実験施設が地震の直後に機能を終えてしまったため、彼女に関するデータが存在しないというのが正しい。ただ、地震の犠牲になった可能性は高いな。
More precisely, this facility shut down right after the earthquake, so there's no data on her, but there's a good chance she didn't survive the quake.
そうですか。
I see. It was horrible, but I felt a little less like throwing up. At least she hadn't died because of the experiments or because we'd abandoned her. Hearing that made me feel like I'd been forgiven a little. A violent sense of self-hatred overcame me again.
ごめん。南沢、千里さん。
I'm sorry, Senri Minami-san. She'd been practically tortured here as part of those experiments and then caught in the earthquake. But I felt something tugging at the edge of my memories.
南沢さん
Minamisawa-san? Hadn't I heard that name before somewhere? But where and who?
あれ
What?
でも
Before I could think about any further, Ito spoke up hesitantly.
なんだ
What?
この実験施設機能を終えたっておかしいですよ。その割にあちこちに人がいましたよね。それに小さな女の子も。
You said this facility shut down, but that doesn't make sense. There's still people here, right? And there's also that little girl.
そうだよね。
You're right.
俺たちその女の子を追ってここへ来たんです。ここが廃棄された施設って言うなら、あの子一体何を？
We followed the little girl down here. If this place was abandoned, what's she doing here?
そのことか。
Oh, that. Kunosada closed the file on Sanri Minamisawa, and her face took on its usual cool, emotionless expression. Back to something she's
ここ
comfortable
は
with.
今、実験中にトラブルのあった被験者たちの保護施設として使われている。
This place is now being used as an institution to house subjects who encountered trouble during their experiments.
実験中にトラブルのあった被験者
Trouble during their experiments?
実験に失敗して脳に損傷を負ったり、正気を失った患者を程度によって軟禁、もしくは監禁しておくための
The classic kind of insane asylum. Perfect. It's the perfect setting for a horror movie. It's an underground prison for patients whose brains were damaged in failed experiments or simply went insane. Some are kept locked in cells and some aren't. A cold chill ran through my body. Wonderful, wonderful. Just what I like to read about.
まさか
You get
そ
me.
んなことって
That's not... Why would it be a ghost?
ありえね
That's impossible.
ひどい。
Horrible.
目的のためならどんなことでもやる連中がいる。お前たちが相手にしているのはそういう連中なんだ。
These people are
だ
willing
か
to
ら
do
最初に警
anything
告してやった
to
ろ。
achieve their goals. They are the kinds of people you're up against. That's why I warned you at the start. Kunosada opened another file.
これで見る限り、現在でも20名近くの人間がここにいるようだな。
According to this, there's around 20 people being kept here. She scrolled down the page and a new picture appeared.
待ってください。その子。
That was the girl we'd been following. Yuki Yamazoe. Blood type A woman, date of birth 2001. So in this, I think it's 2015 in this game. So she's like 14. Born on an interesting day, December 19th. Or not December, October 19th. What am I talking about? October 19th. That's kind of interesting. It's like close to the time period. Is that one of the murder dates? Looks like they've noticed some activity in her lobes. She'd be 20. She'd be 20 now, but it's 5 years ago. It's actually like mid-October in the game right now. That was the girl we'd been following.
間違いないよ、タク。名前は山添うきちゃん？
It's gotta be her, Taku. Her name is Uki Yamasoe.
この子ももともと
Looks like she was
実験
originally
に使
part
わ
of the
れた被
experiment
験者
too.
だったようだな。
Nothing here. I was looking to see if there was anything below the text that would like have more information. He's part of the experiments. This shattering revelation was presented to us as a mere matter of fact, as if it was the most ordinary thing imaginable. So she was part of the experiments and is now... So she was either a volunteer for them, or she's like intentionally hiding it. So either way, that is like a big red flag. Can you put like a really big red flag on this character? She's becoming villain material. Or at least. Tarika covered her hand with her mouth and her eyes went wide. Then she'd suffered the same fate as Senri?
幸い、彼女は最後まで正気を失うことなく実験に耐え、生き残った。今はこのフロアで収容者たちの世話をする仕事を与えられているらしい。
Fortunately, she managed to survive all the experiments without losing her sanity, and now she's been given the job of caring for patients on this floor.
収容者たちの世話。
Caring for the patients? I thought she was a criminal who stole my smartphone and threatened me. She did that, though. What's more, I thought she was either connected with the killer or maybe she was the killer herself. Now I wasn't so sure.
いや、ダメだ。見かけや生い立ちに騙されちゃダメだ。
Stop. Don't let yourself get fooled by her looks or her past.
あの状況だと、僕のスマホを拾えたのは彼女だけなんだ。それに、ここでの実験の被験者ということは、何らかの、能力者の可能性だってある。
In that situation, she's the only one who could have picked up my phone. If she was a test subject here, she might have some kind of power, too.
解約したはずのスマホから電話してくれなんてゲートは、そういう能力でもない限り不可能じゃないか。
You need something like that if you wanted to make a call from the canceled smartphone. Yeah, you need psychic powers to do that. As my mind raced, Kunosato was checking out every bit of data on the machine. Again, copy-paste is your friend, my
実
friend.
験の結果、理想度の発言は全被験者の 0.01% に満たず失敗と断定。別の技術を模索すべきと結論。
Results of the experiments showed only 0.01% of subjects were able to manifest a die sword. The experiments were judged a failure and it was decided another course should be pursued.
やっぱりか。
Idiot
バ
scientists,
カ
I
な
knew
科
it.
学者どもが。
Kunosada sounded uncharacteristically ticked off as she closed all the folders and turned off the PC.
ディソード
Desold. Sword. That strange word snapped me out of my reverie. Again, Kunosato, it would have been way faster for you to copy-paste that rather than reading 100 files. Come on, man. It seemed that was what she was looking for. I looked at her hoping for some kind of answer, but she just glared back at me with terrifying eyes.
そろそろ時間的に限界だ。出るぞ。
Time's up. We're leaving.
これ以上ここにいれば発見される。
If we stay here longer, they'll find us.
でも、僕たちの目的がまだ。
We still have that we're looking for.
お前たちは計画がずさんすぎる。この施設内の構造すら知らないのか。
Ah, perfect. Our protagonist is finally being dressed down for the stupidity of his plan. Your play was terrible to begin with. You don't even know the layout of this facility, do you? She was right, I snuck in here as a child, but that was all. I didn't remember the details. There's no
そ
point
んな
even
ことで
looking.
は探したところで無駄だ。
She was right, damn it, but there must be some way. I looked around the room and saw the rows of monitors. If they were on, they could at least tell us what was going on around the facility. Maybe they could tell us where Yuki Yamazoe was.
どうした宮代？
What's wrong, Mishiro?
このモニターの電源がないか探してるんだよ。こいつが使えれば、あるいは
I'm looking for the power source for these monitors. If we can turn them on, then maybe...
無駄だ。そもそもその監視システム自体動いているのかも。
It's useless. We don't even know if the observation system is functional.
Huh?
Okay. Suddenly, the room was bathed in pale light. All the monitors on the wall turned on. What? All we could do was gasp. What we thought were security cameras were showing... These are places outside. Yeah? Hundreds of sumo stickers. What? I almost screamed, I was so surprised. Taku. Inside the monitors on the wall was face after face, sumo sticker face, all looking at me. What was this? What was going on? Back into delusions.
あれ
What?
ここは
Where am I?
おいおい、勝手に寝るんじゃない。
Hey, don't fall asleep. Kunosada. What? I was back in the chair. Was this a dream? Which was the dream? Was I dreaming of being in this chair, or had I been dreaming of being in the monitoring room? My head felt cold. Oh, that's right. They'd opened my skull.
お前はなかなかいい脳みそをしているな。
Got a nice brain, huh? Did I?
ピンク色でシワが多くて。
It's all pink and wrinkly. It looks delicious.
それは喜んでいいんですか？
Should I be happy about that?
もちろんだ。
Of course.
さて、
Time for dinner?
それじゃあそろそろいただくとするか。
Kunosada grinned with glee and took something metallic out of her pocket. A spoon?
人間の脳はこうして生きたまま食べるのがうまいんだ。
The human brain tastes best when you eat it while it's still alive. What? Who knew?
では、失礼して。
Okay, here I go. Just scooping it like ice cream? Mmm. She was eating it. Kunosada was eating my brain.
ダメだ。止まら
Oh,
な
I
い。
can't stop. I'm full. Oh god. Okay. Okay. Oh, she's just slurping it up.
食べられるってこんなに気持ちがいいんだ。
I never thought it would feel so good when someone ate my brain. I don't think it's yeah, I don't think it's that easy to get through. That you can just take a spoon to it, but hey, if that's how we want to if that's how deluded we want to be, I mean, go for it. I also think, as far as I recall, human brain and liver are the worst things to eat for another person. Like, if you're gonna cannibalize someone, I believe brain and liver are the worst two things to eat, right? I might be wrong, but I think those are the two organs you actually want to stay away from if you're gonna be a cannibal.
もっともっと食べて僕は食べて
Eat me. And our character's back to breathing heavily. Again. I had another weird delusion. I quickly shook my head and slapped my cheeks to snap me out of it.
なんかやだ。
I don't like it.
気
色悪い。
He's sick. Sarika and Ito looked unhappy. It was because of the sumo stickers displayed on the monitors. They don't even look like sumo. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't even see the sumo stickers here. It looks like a bunch of random patterns. Damn. I looked at the monitors once more, trying my best to avoid the sumo stickers.
あれはこの病院の中じゃない。
Is that the inside of this hospital? Some of the monitors were showing the inside of the hospital, but some were looking elsewhere. Street corners on Shibuya, signs under bridges, alleyways, overpasses, train station staircases. Here we go. And then I realized all the monitors with sumo stickers
病院の外の監視カメラだけじゃない
are
か。
from cameras outside the hospital. Yup, as I called. Is one of them watching the, Some of them I knew.
あそこは
That was the spot where Karus had been attacked. Of course, there were sumo stickers there.
なるほどな。探していたということか。
I see, so they've been searching.
探していた。
Searching?
さっきのファイルに書いてあっただろう。
That is a fuck ton of
特
monitors.
殊な事象変異を引き起こす人間は11番目のこの画像に反応を示すと。
Remember what the file said? People capable of causing special event variations react strongly to the 11th image. Kunisada pointed to a corner on one of the monitors. I quickly looked away before I got a direct look at the sumo sticker. In other words, whoever was using this place put up the 11th Rorschach image all over Shibuya and used these cameras to find people who reacted to it. And then they took them here and did those horrible experiments. I remember what I'd seen happen to Senri Minamisawa and felt like I was going to throw up again. And then Kunisada made a sharp noise. She's going to realize one of these is looking out of the sumo stickers, right? They're either cameras or are they looking out of or at them? She put her hand on one of the monitors to brush away the dust and then stared at it. It showed something moving around a dark room. There was no sumo sticker there. It wasn't an image of Shibuya or the hospital above. It was probably showing one of the rooms down here.
あの子。
That girl. It was definitely the girl. On the screen, she was saying something to an old person lying on the bed and gently wrapping belts around their arms and legs.
急げ。もうじき警備が回ってくる時間だ。
It's almost time for security to come by. That girl was my only clue as to where my smartphone was, which meant we had to find the room on the monitor. Kunisada suddenly told me she knew where it was. She'd been uncooperative so far. I had no idea why she suddenly decided to help. When she suddenly saw the girl, she said she'd go with us. Of course, I knew her well enough by now. She wasn't helping us. She simply took an interest in the girl. At least, that's how I saw it. As we moved down the dim hallway, the temperature dropped and humidity went up.
ここだ。
This is it. She stopped in front of a door with strange words on the plate. What are the words? Confinement room 3. Oh boy. Oh boy. Kunisada opened the door a little, taking care to make as little noise as possible. Somebody please stand guard so we don't get locked in the insane room. In their padded cell. Please. She opened the door, making as little noise as possible. I peeked inside. And there, I saw a world I'd only ever seen in movies. There were rows of beds in the room. There was what appeared to be prisoners lying on them. They had different ages and sexes. Some old, some young. And one I recognized, the old lady the girl had been walking with before.
213-885-717-998-357.
Is he reciting digits of pi or something? Boy, I love exploring insane asylums. Some were screaming, some were counting numbers endlessly. One was a girl endlessly chewing her food. It seemed unreal. I remembered the woman with the baby carriage I'd passed before and felt cold sweat forming on my palm.
ここは
This is...
強度の OCST 視床下部損傷による過食およびチューイング 大脳半球損傷による反則空間無視障害。
Severe OCSD, overeating and chewing caused by damage to the hypothalamic area, hemispatial neglect caused by damage to the cerebral hemisphere. All of them had their brains messed with.
じゃあ
And everyone here?
ここの人たちは
そう簡単に処分することもできず、
They can't be easily
ここ
disposed
で
of,
飼い殺してる。
so they're kept here. For a moment, the tone of her voice changed. It felt like there was a pale flame burning somewhere deep within her voice. It was a pale flame of rage, which seemed cold at first glance, but was in fact incredibly hot.
タク、
Sarika tugged at my sleeve and whispered. She pointed at a bed in the back with her other hand. I could see something moving past what looked like a curtain. What's your favorite video game, Asylum?
ごめんなさい。ちょっと窮屈だけど我慢してください。起きたらまたお散歩に行きましょうね。
I'm sorry, it's a little cramped. Please endure it. When you wake up, we can go for another walk, okay?
はい、今行きます。待っててください。
Just wait. Someone appeared from within the curtain.
いた
That's her. That's the girl. That's the grill. The girl in the file, Yuki Yamazoe, didn't seem to notice us. She moved from patient to patient, doing her best to take care of them.
よかった。彼女はまだちゃんと正気を保ってるようだ。
She's still sane. I could hear Kunosada whisper.
彼女からどうやってスマホを返してもらえばいいでしょう。説得とかしても聞いてくれるかどうか。
How do I get my phone back
むし
from
ろ
her?
警
I
報
don't
で
know
も
if she'll
鳴ら
listen
さ
to
れ
me if
た
I
ら
ask for it. And if she sets off an alarm.
私はあの子をここから連れ出す。スマホの話なんて言うのは、その後でいくらでも聞け。
I'm getting her out of here. Once she's out, you can ask whatever you want about your phone.
Eh?
What? It took me a moment to figure out what she was saying. By the time I did, she flung open the door to the room and leapt inside. Yuki Yamazoe's eyes went wide at this sudden intruder. Kunosada grabbed her hand.
誰ですか？
Who are you? All the patients started screaming, afraid of this sudden commotion.
皆さん落ち着いてください。大丈夫ですから。
Everyone, please calm down. It's all right. Yamazoe looked around the room and tried her best to calm the people there, even as Kunosada held onto her arm.
いいから来い。
Come with me. Just come with me. What? What?
警備に気づかれる。早くしろ。
Your security will see us. Hurry up.
だからあなたは誰ですか？一
Who
体
are
何で
you?
すか？
What's going on?
お前をここから解放してやる。
I'm setting you free from this place. Dude, she literally went here voluntarily.
そんな
Oh, don't
嫌です。
stop.
やめてください。
A girl named Yuki Yamazoe went pale and tried to free herself from Kunosada's grip. She was completely in a panic. Kunosada must have decided there was nothing to be gained by talking because she quickly moved around behind her and put her arm on the girl's carotid artery. Hello, words. Then she applied a very light pressure. Yuki Yamazoe moaned for an instant, then slumped backwards into Kunosada's arms. I like how she's like, I'm a genius, also just like, how many skill sets do you know, okay? She seemed to have passed out. Predator.
Boy.
Nice quick blow there, okay.
はい。
Yes?
タイムリミットだ。
Time's up. Get separated from me, and I leave you. What happens after that? I don't care. Is she also strong enough to pick up someone her age? And carry them on her shoulder?
ここの連中みたいになりたくなければ、ついてこい。
If you don't want to end up like these guys, follow me. She put the unconscious girl on her back and then ran outside the room without bothering to wait for us. Man, she's fucking strong. I was stunned at her speed, but there was no time for hesitating.
尾上、いた。
Ito, let's go. I motioned to Sarika and Ito and ran out into the hallway. We followed after Kunosada as fast as we could. Just like she said, if we got lost here, we'd be caught for sure. So who knew what would happen to us then? His voices are great. I didn't know who was doing these experiments or why, but their victims were suffering horrible fates. As I ran, I felt as if their screams of rage were following me. And we're out.
Mo, ダメだ。走れねえ。
I can't go on anymore. I can't move. We followed Kunosato as fast as we could and then made it outside the hospital via a different route than before. Kunosato was sweating like a racehorse and her breathing was heavy, but she never let her guard down for a second. Instead, she seemed to be looking around intently. Yeah, were we followed? We were at the back of the hospital. This seemed like the exit, where they moved corpses from the morgue to the hearse. For that reason, there was a fence surrounding us that kept us hidden. Kunosato had evidently taken the fence into account in her escape plans from the start. What do we do now? I was too out of breath to speak, so Sariko spoke for me.
地下施設はもう大騒ぎになってるはずだ。ここも間もなく見つかる。死にたくなければ足を動かせ。行くぞ。
Underground facility is probably in an upper now. They'll find us soon. If you don't want to die, move. Let's go. We were almost at the rear gate to the hospital. She started to run toward it. We followed her with the last of our strength. There was a guard station there, but inside, there were only 2 men, asleep, heads pointed at the ceiling.
それほど長い効き目の薬は使ってない。急がないと目を覚ます。
The sleeping drug I used doesn't last that long. If we don't hurry, they'll wake up. I frantically made my way through the guard station and finally got past the hospital's outer walls. Why didn't they just take the... Oh, whatever. She didn't know the route there. We ran a little longer and found a van parked in a secluded spot.
何よ、ミオちゃん。ずいぶん賑やかじゃない？
What's going on, Mio? It looks like you got a crowd with you. A broad-shouldered woman looked up at us from the driver's seat. It was hard to tell how old she was. It's also hard to tell if she has a nose or not. Her attitude and bearing made her look like an older person, but the mischievous grin on her face made her seem younger. Looks like we escaped the asylum.
必要なことはつかめた？
Did you find what we needed?
ええ。あれだけの犠牲者を出しながら、例の実験では結局、理論を完成させることができなかったようです。
Even after all the victims it created, the experiment failed to complete the theory.
そう。
I see.
ディソードの発言にも確実性はなく、ギガロマニアックス実験は失敗だったと。
They found no reliable way to cause the Dyswords to manifest, so the Gigalomaniac experiments were deemed a failure.
まあ、予想した通りよね。
Well, just as we expected.
ギガロだって
What was a Dysword? Yeah, what's a Dysword? Didn't she say something about that in the monitoring room?
ただ、重要な情報源を見つけました。
I did find an important source of information, though. Kunosato opened the rear door and laid Yuki Yamazoe on the floor. On the back seat.
多分、実験の生き残りかと。保護
I think she's a survivor of the experiments. I wanted to take her with us.
え、それは。まあいいわ。しばらくうちで預かっとく。
I think she's gonna be hostile. I hope you guys have a prison cell for her. Nice, dark, cool. That's whatever. She can stay with us for a while.
頼みます。
Thanks. Kunosato hadn't even dropped her attitude for Detective Shinjo, but now she was being polite. Just who was this woman?
で、そっちの子たちはお友達じゃないわよね。
Who are these people? Your friends? Of course not.
こっちは使えるかどうか。
I'll decide later
後
if
ほ
they're
ど
good
判断
friends.
します。
Just take them to my
私の家
place.
まで送っていただければ。
She seemed to be referring to us, but what did she mean by good? She was as arrogant as ever, and like usual, she was pissing me off.
了解。とにかくみんな乗りなさい。早く。
Roger. Everyone, get in, hurry. Her voice got a little sharper as she pointed to the middle seat in the back of the van. We could hear what sounded like a lot of yelling from the direction of the hospital. We quickly jumped inside and closed the door. Kunosato got in the front passenger seat of the van, started quietly, and headed off into the night. Alright. I think we've officially escaped the asylum.
ここだ。入れ。
This is it. Come in. Oh?
ああ、
何をぼさっとしている。
Are you staring? Get
さっ
moving.
さと。
お邪魔します。
Excuse me.
人の家の中をじろじろ無遠慮に見るものじゃない。
It's not nice to stare at people's homes.
家ってもしかしてここが久野里さんの？
Home? Is this your... Alright, pile of clothes, tons of bottles of water. Looks like a printer or fax machine, a laptop, and a bunch of other things we can't see. A bunch of CDs. Oh, is this your...
そうだ。
That's right. Is there a problem?
何か問題でもあるのか。
いや、だって
It's just, I mean... The outside wasn't much better, but looking inside, it's hard to believe there was still apartments this dumpy in Shibuya. The same was true of everything else in the room. Everything in the apartment was the cheapest you could buy. The only thing that was worth anything was the computer. What?
どうした宮下。おっ
What does it mean? What? What? I pushed Ito out of the way and ran over to the computer. The monitor was still on, and the page there was one I'd seen many times. Shibuya News. And it wasn't the display version of the page we'd seen so many times. Oh my god, they're finally figuring it out. The page was in the process of being edited. Edited.
嘘。
Oh wait, are you
も
Kei?
しかしてケイさん？
It's Kei-san. So that was it. I thought I'd heard her voice somewhere before. Her voice was just too different from the gentle Kei we were used to hearing. But that voice was without a doubt Kei's.
嘘マジ？ケイさんってあのケイさん？渋谷ニュースの？
No way, seriously, you're Kei from Shibuya News? Ito was pretty excited too, it seemed. Of course he was. Kei was someone we both admired. I don't want to be rude, but for someone who's a genius, leaving their computer unlocked gotta be peak stupidity, right? Like, she literally left for several hours and came back and it was still unlocked, so she intentionally disabled the auto lock feature. Interesting choice, Kei. Interesting choice. Kunosada. She was the ultimate right-sider. Since even I admitted it, she had to be at the top of her class. I never thought I'd be able to meet her like this, though. Well, you also met Watabe. Not the way you expected, though. But I can't even say I'd ever imagined Kei having a weird personality like this. Kunosato, the girl who'd been insulting us the whole evening, was the same as the gentle Kei that we knew from Shibuya News. Which was the real one? I didn't know. And why had Kei brought us to her room? I thought I remembered her saying she'd decide if she could use us later. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's be positive this time, guys. Let's be positive. I looked over and saw something strange in the corner of the room. The best way to describe it would be a sword. Oh cool, it's like someone made a really weird version of the sword from Halo. It's like the two-tined blade. Don't usually have swords like that. They're not very effective. I wasn't sure if most people who saw it would think that. Its design was complicated and frankly unrealistic. For some reason, looking at it made me feel uneasy. It made me feel really bad, actually. What the fuck was that? If someone told me it was for cosplay, I'd probably believe them. If nothing else, it didn't match the image I had of the person in front of me. Not the Kei I knew from Shibuya News, or Kunosato who'd been swearing at me the whole night. Did she maybe have a third identity? Maybe she was a famous cosplayer, or maybe a toy artisan who made life-sized weapons. Maybe she was an otaku who collected swords like this. Either way, it felt like a bad idea to mention it. Best to just ignore that. Best to pretend I never saw it. Trigger on.
Miyashiro.
Miyashiro. Alright, we're in a positive delusion, guys.
Huh?
Huh?
その件が気になるのか。
Oh, it's about the sword. Disappointing. I was hoping he'd think something lewd that would be funny. Kunosato brought it up. The sword. I was trying my hardest to ignore it.
いや、
No,
別に
I tried my best to laugh and avoid looking at it. I should have gone with the negative one. Kunosada must have sensed what I was doing because she dropped the subject instead.
やはりお前こそが真のアウグルなんだな。
You are the true augur after all. She whispered. What was going on? Why had she brought us here? You're the chosen one! The windows started to rattle. It must have been the wind. The only thing I could see outside the window were the streetlights shining in the darkness. For some reason, I felt very anxious. And then it came without warning. There was a huge crash as the windows shattered. A black ball landed in the center of the room.
なんだ
What's going on?
捕らえましたよ、
I
クノサ
found
とミオ。
Mio Kunosato. It was a tiny girl with glasses. I knew her face. The girl we'd seen at AH Tokyo General Hospital. She followed me?
つけられていたか。
We brought her here! This is clearly a
見
delusion.
つけたからには皆さんの命はありません。平等にエゼクサンをします。
Not that I found you all. You all must die. I will execute. I will exection? What? Come again? Exection you all? Come again? I don't know if that's a translator error or like a special ability.
宮代さん、あなたもです。
You too, Miyashiro.
はあ
For some reason, I didn't sound very worried. I was having trouble keeping up with the situation.
トク、
Talk. Wait, that's actually how Sariko would act. Sariko was clinging to me a little afraid. This is how she actually acts. Good job. It was rare to see her look like that. Normally, she was optimistic and easygoing. As the man here, I needed to protect her. Except our protagonist.
私は風使い。人呼んでウィーゼルサイス。
I was gonna say, our protagonist, if he was actually in this situation, wouldn't be like this. He would be panicking and screaming. I'm the Windmaster. People call me Weasel Sight.
ウィーゼルサイズ。
Weasel Sight. That translated to
かまいたち
Whirlwind. I saw that her nails were shining emerald green. Did she paint them with luminescent paint?
セブンスのプラーガが出張ってくるとはな。
I didn't expect a seventh Praga here.
だが分かっているのか。ここはセロパライトだぞ。力を使えばどうなるか。
Don't you know? This place is a Cello Paraiso. If you use your power here,
知ったことではありません。
I don't care. And her name's actually changed to Weasel Scythe.
我が使命はただ一つ。計画の障害を取り除くことだけですから。
I have one order to stop anyone from interfering with the plan.
させるか。
I won't let you. Kunosada reached for her blade, but before she could,
可視化せよ、我が風。
manifest my wind. A burst of wind blew through the room. The wind shone emerald green.
切り裂け。
Slice her apart.
島。
No, no. The emerald wind surrounded Kunosada's body. Her clothes were torn apart. Not just her clothes, her beautiful skin and long black hair were ripped apart by invisible blades. Red blood flew through the air. This is a positive delusion?
なんだよ
What's going on? What's happening?
なんだよこれ
Kunosada fell to the ground covered in blood. Her hand just managed to grab the blade, but she couldn't fight like that. Kunosada was going to die. All I could do was stand there and watch. If I interfered, I would meet the same fate. I would be exectioned. Again, it's not executed. It's actually exectioned. Exectioned?
オーガナイザー側のアウグルも質が落ちたものですね。
Augurs of the organizers have fallen in power, it seems.
クノサとミオ、あなた程度で私を止められるとでも？
Mio Kunosada, did you really think the likes of you could stop me? Her clothes seem on. Kunosada gritted her teeth and staggered to her feet using the sword as a support. It's crazy, you can't do anything like that. She'll just kill you.
いや、シロ。
Shiro, I leave it to you.
Huh?
You're the chosen one. With the last of her strength, Kunosada offered me her sword.
剣を取れ。
Take the sword.
私には使いこなせなかったが。
I was never able to master it.
お前、
Perhaps you.
お前だからこ
You
そ
must. I know you can.
真の力を 引き出せる。
Draw out its true power.
成層圏クラジオラスはお前のために、カオスチャイルドのためにある剣なんだから。
The holy Dio blade, Gladiolus, was created for you, the Chaos Child.
僕のためにある。
Me? My name was the Chaos Child. Kunosada pushed it into my hands. Her arms strong, but not strong enough. She was forcing me to take it.
宮代拓郎、
Ishiro Takuru.
戦え。
Fight. Fight? Me?
戦
Fight.
え。でないとみんな死ぬ。
Or everyone dies. And then Kunosado collapsed into my arms. I grabbed her and suddenly my hands were slick with red blood. She'd always been so intimidating. I thought she was much taller than me. But her body was so frail, so light. She was just a girl too. She fought so hard until she ended like this. I had to do it. I didn't know what was going on. But if I didn't stop her, not only Kunosado's life or my life, but Sarika and Ito's life would be in danger as well. I'd have to protect everyone. I set Kunosado on the ground and motioned to Sarika and Ito to step back. I gripped the sword I'd been given tightly, and then I turned to face the girl in glasses, Weasel Scythe.
話は終わりましたか、カオスチャイルド。
Are you finished, Chaos Child? I glared at her
あ
silently.
なたがその剣を取るというのなら、ウィーゼルサイズの名にかけて容赦しません。
If you've taken up the blade, then by my name, Weasel Scythe, I shall show you no mercy.
真の覚醒へと至る前に、今ここでエゼクションします。
I will execution you before you can undergo your true awakening. I didn't know what to expect, but if I didn't fight, I would die. I had to fight. I steeled myself and took a step towards Weasel Scythe. Okay, okay. And illusion out, right? You're in your last year of high school? What the hell were you thinking? Just you. Sure, any Japanese boy who grew up on manga could fantasize about something like that, but it was all tropes and cliches. If it had gotten launched in a magazine, it would have been cancelled after 10 weeks. Screw you, I would have liked it. I blamed the sword that was just sitting there in the corner. Any boy who saw that sword would remember his dark history. Ooh, someone's been a chuny. Alright, that's cool. The ugly sword is not a die sword. Anyway, it's no time to be thinking about that sword.
ケイさん、俺マジファンなんす。声聞いてるだけで超癒されるっつうか。
Okay, I'm seriously a fan of yours. Just listening to your voice makes me feel a bit better.
そんなことはどうでもいい。
I don't care. As I sat there fantasizing, Kunosada was tearing apart Ito's hopes and dreams. Good job, Kei-san. He was having a bad time.
それよりお前。
More importantly, you. Me?
お前だ。
You.
宮代拓郎。
Takuru
い
Miyashiro.
ちいち聞き返すな。
Stop acting so bewildered all the time.
はい。なんでしょう。
Crap, she was really scary. Was the K that I'd loved only an image I'd created for myself? It's a projection. Was this the girl? Was this girl who she really was? Kunosada stood by the wall and glared at me, oblivious to how I felt.
お前は何の能力者だ？
What is your power?
は？
Huh? It was so sudden. I didn't know what I'd been asked. Power? Who? Me?
さっき言ったろ。あの地下施設は今厳重に封鎖されている。ど素人がそんな簡単に入り込めるような場所じゃない。
I told you before, right? The facility was heavily guarded. It wasn't the kind of place an amateur could get inside that easily.
それはたまたまですよ。なんか偶然とか重なってうまく入れただけです。
I just got lucky. A lot of coincidence happened. That's how I got inside.
隠すな。
Don't hide it.
お前は
Using your power to
そ
do
れ
it.
を能力でやってのけたんだ。
So our power has already been specified in the game. Our power is the ability to affect the present with delusions, right? Using your power to do it.
だから違います。
You're wrong.
監視モニターがいきなり起動したのだってそうだ。
It's the same thing with the way the observation monitors turned on. What was she talking about? I didn't have any kind of powers. Wait, Kay, I respected you. Try not to disappoint me so much.
大体何を根拠にそんなことは。
Yeah, his insanity is his power, right? What evidence do you have for that anyway?
地下施設にお前たちが潜入しているのを見つけたときにな。
When I saw you down there, I
お前
figured
がそっ
that
ちの彼か。
either you or
ど
he
ちら
had
か
to be
が
a
能力
psychic.
者じゃないかと疑った。
One of you had to be a psychic. Kunisada pointed at me and Ito in turn.
俺もすか？
Me too.
ああ。
Yeah?
だが、お前の方はその後、何の反応も示さなかったからな。
Yeah, but you didn't
除外した。
show any signs of response after that, so I eliminated you.
反応？
Response?
11番目のロールシャッハ画像を見た時の反応。
When you saw the
Da.
11th Rorschach. Kunisada's deep dark eyes were peering into me.
だが宮代拓。あの画像を見た時、お前は激しく動揺した。
But Takuru, Miyashiro, when you saw that image, you reacted violently.
いや、だってあんな気色悪い絵ですよ。当たり前じゃないですか。
I mean, that picture is really creepy, right? Of course I did.
お前のは、そういう反応とは全く違う。あの画像を見た時に、どう感じた？
The way you reacted
思
was
い出して
different.
みろ。
How did you feel when you saw it? Tell me. Ugh. The feeling I'd experienced when I'd seen the sumo sticker image came back to me. When I looked at it, the hairs on my body stood on end, and I was attacked by nightmarish delusions from which there was no escape. I was so scared I couldn't help but look away from it.
じゃあ、身の潔白を証明するために、もう一度見てみるか？
Alright, want to look at it again? To prove your innocence? Oh, she's so mean, but he deserves that. Kunisada turned towards her computer and opened a folder. She watched my face carefully as she moved to click on an image inside the folder.
嫌です。やめてください。
Please stop. I slowly sank to the floor and sat down, sweat pouring from my body. I looked away from the computer. I didn't have the courage to look at the image right now.
いい加減にしてください。
Enough of this. Sarika interrupted with a yell. It was the first time in ages I'd heard her yell. I looked up to see her standing between me and Kunisada with her hands on her hips.
一体何なんですか？特に超能力ってそんなアニメや漫画みたいな話真面目にしてどうかしてますよ。
Oh my god, stop being dumb, Sarika. Stop being dumb. Although it... Like, oh, you're being unreasonable. And by unreasonable, you're being like that person who responds with hysteria to anything they don't believe in. Or that challenges their worldview. It's quite annoying. What do you think you're doing? You're seriously talking about psychics like this is an anime or something? You're insane.
何？
What? Were you even paying attention to the text? No way.
タクは人が殺された場所とかでいっぱいあのシールを見てきてるんです。気持ちが悪くなるの当たり前じゃないですか。
Taka's seen those stickers at places where people have been killed. Of course they make him sick.
私だってラブホの時のことを思い出して吐いちゃいそうになることありますけど。
When I remember what happened to Love, I feel like throwing up too.
そんなくったらないことが証拠だって言うなら私にだって超能力があるってことになりますよね。
If something that stupid's your proof, that makes me a psychic too, doesn't it?
いや、
No.
お前は違う。
You're not a psychic.
なんでですか？
Why? Why? Rika pushed harder. When she thought I was in trouble, sometimes she would turn into a totally different person. She would try to protect me in a different way than Carice. Made me happy to make me feel better, but...
おのえ、
Oh no,
その、
thanks.
ありがとう。けど、ちょっとだけ抑えてくれ。
Cool it for a minute?
でも
What? But...
いいから。
Just back
本
off
当
a
に
bit.
サンキューな。
Thanks. Really? There was no way I had any kind of psychic power, but I'd already suspected that powers like that were involved in the case anyhow. I wanted to know what Kunisada had to say. Kunisada looked at me for a moment questioningly, then sighed. She took out her phone and made a call. The person on the phone didn't seem very happy about it, but they eventually gave their approval. She nodded and hung up the phone, then spoke.
また出かけるぞ。まあ、 今度は命の危険はないだろう。安心するがいい。
We're leaving again. Well, this time you won't be in any danger, so don't worry. Oh, thanks. Thanks.
ふむ、こんな時間によう来たの。まだ閉店時間までは間があるゆえ、ゆるりと過ごしてゆくがよい。
It's awfully late for you to be visiting, but there's still time before we close, so enjoy and relax. Kunosato took me to Cafe LAX. We were taken to a big table by the window. Come to think of it, I'd just been here a while ago. Last time it was to listen in on the conversation between Hine and Shinjo. While I was thinking about that, the person Kunosato had called walked into the cafe. They seemed upset.
Huh?
When I looked up and saw who was there, I gasped.
ふむ、こんな時間によう来た
I'll be
の。
late for you
ゆ
to be
るりと
visiting.
過ごしてゆくがよい。
Enjoy and relax. It's Ari Mur.
用
Why?
が済んだらすぐに
They called
帰
in
ります
Hine?
から。
I'll be leaving as soon as I'm done.
遅かったな。
We're late. Late?
私にだって準備くらいあるんです。
Even I have to go get ready to go places. Hine Arimura. It was the girl I was just thinking about.
あれ、ひなちゃんだ。
Oh, Hina. It's Hina.
どうも。
Hello.
こ
What's
れ
going
って
on
どう
here?
いうことっ
Everyone?
すかね、先輩方。
知らねえって。俺に聞かないでくれ。
What's going on here? No clue. Don't ask me. True. What was she inviting Hina here for?
っていうか、
And you know.
久野里さん、便利に使って巻き込むのはやめてほしいって言いましたよね。
Kurosato, I told you not to get me involved in things just because I'm a helpful tool.
互いに情報の提供をする。そういう約束だろ。
We offer each other information. That was the deal.
そっちばっかり私を利用してるくせに。
And yet, you're the one using me, not the other way around.
いいから座れ。
Just sit down. Yeah, that seems about right. Armor sighed, glanced at us, and sat down with a frown on her face. I swear, like, every woman in this show is, like, incredibly frustrated. Actually, you know, all the women are very strong and very frustrating to work with. That said, the men aren't much better since, both of our male characters, both, Ito and Taku are, like, complete bitches. Like, sweeping generalization. Like, there's, like, two broad categories. They just, like, shove all of the female characters into, like, one broad category, I swear. They're, like, half of them have the same personality. It's just, like, it just so happens that Inoue is on our side, whereas the other ones don't care for us as much. Anyway, Armor aside, glanced at us and sat down with a frown on her face. There was an awkward moment after we ordered our drinks when no one spoke.
それで、何なんです？
What's up? Once our drinks arrived, Armor, of course, was the first to speak.
口で説明するよりも見せた方が早いと思ってな。
I figured it would be faster to show them than explain. Hey, look, a shot of our protagonist for once. You can't actually see it if you don't. Hide the text. But he's there. He's distinctly there, we swear. Text be visible. I actually have to press the button to resume the text visibility.
話したんで
It
す
doesn't
か？
just randomly show. Did you tell them? You couldn't.
利用価値がありそうだと判断した。
I decided they could be worth using.
ほんと、勘弁してほしいんですけど。
Really, I wish you'd cut that out. From the way they were talking, Armor must have known about these powers as well.
つべこべ言わずに見せてやれ。
Stop whining and show them. Just stop whining and show them. Wait, she couldn't mean.
嫌ですよ、めんどく
No,
さい。
it's a pain in the butt.
宮代拓が能力者かどうか確証を得たい。
I want proof of whether Takeru Miyashiro is psychic.
いや、
No,
だか
no
らで
way.
すね。
I told you.
僕はそんな。
I'm not.
間違いなく、能力者ですよ。
He's psychic, no doubt about it. Armor spoke as if it was the most normal thing in the world.
有村。
Armor, betrayed by
お
Armor.
い、本当か宮代。
Wait, is she right, Miyashiro?
信じられないよ。
I can't believe it.
だから僕は
I
知ら
told you
な
I
いっ
don't know what
て。
she's talking about.
ふーん、なるほどね。知らないというのは本当みたいです。無自覚なんですね。
It's true, yeah, he doesn't know, it looks like. He has no idea.
無自覚も何も有村はなんでそんなこと言い切れるん
How
だ
would you
よ。
know Arimura?
あれ
Oh,
思い
You
当
have
た
no
る
idea?
節ありませんか？
you really have no idea?
そんなのあるわけ。
Of course I don't. If I had that power, I would have used it for something.
でも自分がこうなってほしいと思ったところでいつも特別なことが起きたりしたでしょ？
But when you want something to happen, something special always does, right?
例えば例のラブホテルに先輩が潜入した時、
For example, when you snuck into the love hotel.
あの時部屋には確かに鍵がかかっていたんですよ。
The
な
door
の
of the room
に
was locked,
先
so
輩はどうやって入って
how
きた
did
ん
you
で
get
す？
in?
嘘だ。鍵は開いてた。
You're lying, it wasn't locked.
いいえ、閉まってました。けどいきなり開いたんです。だよね、セリ。
It was, but suddenly it wasn't. Am I wrong, Sarah?
う
Huh? Sarika hesitated for a moment, then looked at me.
確かに
Yeah, I
ガチャ
did hear a
って。
click.
尾上
No way.
ほら、
See?
そ
That's
れ
your
が
power.
宮代先輩の能力です。
My power? No way.
おそらく望んだように物体を動かす能力、いわゆるテレキネシス、あるいはサイコキネシスか、それを持っている。
It's likely the ability to cause things to move. It's usually called telekinesis, but its other name, psychokinesis, might be more fitting for you. Yeah, because he doesn't seem to have conscious control over it.
病院の地下施設にあんな簡単に侵入できたのもそのおかげだ。
That's how you're able to get inside the hospital so easily.
本当かよ。
Are you serious? Ito was looking at me in shock.
いや待ってくれ。
Wait, that's not...
違う。
That's not right. Sure, when I'd gone into the psych ward in the underground lab, a lot of coincidences had happened all at once. Doors that would normally be locked weren't. When I'd gone down to the underground facility from the autopsy room, something had gotten stuck and I'd been able to open the secret door. But
そんな特殊な能力なんて
there's no
本
such
当
thing
にあ
as
るわけ。
psychic powers.
でもさ、宮代言ってたよな。今回の事件の鍵かもしれないって。
But Miyashiro, you said they might be key to this case.
それはそうだけど。
I did say that, but... Sure, I'd been saying it a while ago, but only after being told I was psychic did I understand. I hadn't actually really believed it. When I said it aloud, I acted like it was some brilliant theory. In my mind, it was still some piece of fiction. I mean, you know, right? Like, how could I have something so
先
crazy?
輩、今から言う質問にすべていいえで答えてください。
Can you answer every question I'm about to say with no?
は
What's this all
な
about?
んだよいきなり。
いいから答えてください。
Okay,
いい
just
で
do
す
it, okay?
ね。
Alright, doing as Hina asks.
はい。
Okay. I nodded. It didn't seem like I was going to be given a chance to disagree.
自分のクラスの人間はバカばっかりだと思っている。
You think everyone in your class is an idiot? Oh boy, she's got his number. He's fucked.
いいえ。
He's saying no. Oh boy.
でも本当はその輪の中に入りたいと思っている。
But you wish you could be part of the group.
いいえ。
一人でカラオケに行ったことがある。
You've gone to karaoke by yourself.
いいえ。
一人でカラオケに行ったけれど一曲も歌ってはいない。
You went to karaoke by yourself but didn't sing a song.
いいえ。
Why is he answering no to that? Isn't it true?
クルス先輩と一緒に暮らしていた時、クルス先輩のお風呂を覗いちゃったことがある。
When you were living with Carus, you peeked on her when she was in the bath.
いいえ。
なるほど。わ
I
かりまし
see,
た。
I understand. Iremura nodded and smiled.
わかったって何が？
I understand, but...
まず最初の質問。宮代先輩はみんなバカばっかりだと思ってますね。
First question, Miyashiro. You think everyone's an idiot, don't you?
そんなことは。
That's not true.
それから次。そうは言っても本当は寂しくてみんなの輪の中に入りたいとそう思ってます。
Next, you're actually lonely and want to be a part of the group.
違う。僕は何の生産性もない会話になんて。
I'm not interested in their unproductive conversations. You're
カ
lying.
ラオケに一人で行きましたね。
You went to karaoke by yourself, didn't you?
それは新聞部の取材で言っただけだ。でも歌っては。
Just to do something for the newspaper. I didn't sing.
それは嘘です。
That's a lie. What?
え
What?
本当は歌いました。
You did sing.
歌ってない。
I did not sing.
一曲だけですか？
Was it just one song?
だから歌ってないって
I
ば。
told you I didn't sing.
なるほど。一曲だけ歌ったんです
I
ね。
see. It was just one song, huh?
おい宮代本当かお前あれだけ歌ってないって否定してたよな
Sure, is that true? You kept insisting you didn't sing, remember? Alright, how do you know this stuff? It seemed like a waste, so I did sing one song.
最後にお風呂でクルス先輩を
Finally, when Chris was in the back.
もういいやめろ。
No, stop it, stop it.
タク
Taku, how dare Taku, you're getting a slap. She pushed hard on her Gary Froggy strap. It made a noise like you lose. Like the you lose buzzer on a game show. Is this a TV variety show or something? Give him a slap. Give him a slap for the rest of us.
違うん
No,
だ。
that
あ
was
れは
you two.
ユードがいたずらして今なら誰も入ってないって言うからドアを開けたらそれに慌てて目をつぶったから何も見てない。本当だぞ。
It's not true. It's you know playing a trick. He said nobody was inside, so I opened the door and I looked away quickly, so I didn't see anything. It's true. It's true. Do you have any idea what the hell I went through after that? Just remembering it terrified me. Wait, no.
それが一体何だって言うん
What
だ。
happened?
わかりませんか？今のが私の能力です。
Can't you tell? That's my power.
え
What?
他人の口にした言葉が嘘か真実かわかる。
I can tell if
それが私の能力なんです。
I can tell if what someone says is true or false. That's my power. You could tell if someone was lying?
Oh.
The human lie detector. That sounds amazing. And then I finally realized the way Armor had acted, the things she'd said.
言葉に出してもらってもいいですか？
What was that about? You want us to say think out loud?
彼女の言ってること
Was she saying
本当か
true?
いや、ホットリーディングやコールドリーディングって可
Could be
能性
hot or
もある
cold
し。
reading. Could be hot or cold reading.
ホットリーディング？
Hot reading?
つまり事前に調査してって後で自分で調べろ。
Actually, it's when you look things up ahead of time. Actually, just look it up in your own later.
ああもういい
Forget it. It's
面倒だ
taking too long. Kunisada looked annoyed and bored as she watched our conversation.
あれを見せてやれそれが一番早い
Show it to him. That's the fastest way.
あれですか？
Show him.
こんな
Yeah.
ところで？
多分宮代以外には見えないはずだ
I don't think anyone but Miyashiro will be able to see it.
そうかもしれません。
Maybe, but
けど
Aramura looked towards the ground. Show me something? Wait, what was she gonna show me? She nodded reluctantly, then suddenly stood up in front of me.
宮代先輩、
Yeah, sure.
何？
よく見ててください。
Watch carefully. And then she lifted up her skirt. Come again? No, that's not what happened.
お
Huh? What are you going to show me? I almost asked, and then I stopped. Suddenly, she stretched her right hand out to the side. She inhaled slowly and seemed to draw something out of the air. What? What? As I sat there astonished, she pulled something impossible out of empty air. It was warped yet elegant. Oh, there's the dye blade we're looking for. It's actually a sword. Damn, alright. We got her. We'll call it Butterfly. Ugly yet fascinating. It was inorganic and organic at the same time. It was as if it contained every shape in the world. It was a...
Ken?
A sword? Wasn't this the same thing Kunisado had at her apartment? The shape was different, but it had the same terrible feeling to it. But Aramura just pulled it out of thin air.
どうやったんだ？
How did you do that? Aramura looked unhappy when she saw my shop.
やっぱり見えるんですね。
So you can see it.
何の話？
What's she talking about talking?
剣ってなんだよ。
What do you mean a sword?
見えないのか
You
二
two
人とも
can't see it? Shurika and Ito both shook their heads.
そんなバカな
It's impossible. It was huge. How could they not see it? Miss Detective either has a fake sword or a real sword in her room. I quickly looked around the room. No one else, not the customers or the employees, was looking at the thing in Armor's hands. They couldn't see it.
これで決まりだな。
That settles it.
どういうことなんですかこれ
今、有村ひなえが手にしているもの。それが能力者の証だ。ディソードと呼ばれている。
What Armor is holding could prove someone's a psychic, called a D-sword.
ディ
She
ソ
pronounced
ー
it
ド
D-sword. See? D-sordo. I heard her use the word before. I didn't realize what she was talking about, though.
その状態のディソードは能力者にしか目視できない。つまりそれが見えるお前は間違いなく能力者ということだよ。
Only psychics can see D-swords in that state. In other words, if you can see it, it's beyond any reasonable doubt you're a psychic. Kunosada's cold voice dropped even lower than usual.
でも僕そんな能力なんて
I've never
本
used
当
any
に使
power
った覚えもないし
like that,
でも事実だ。
but it's true. I couldn't believe it. So much was going through my head I couldn't think. Suddenly we're in a superpower novel. I looked over at the D-sword again. Armor fiddled with it and snorted.
まあ同じギガロマニアックス同士もう少し仲良くしときますかね先輩。
Well, since we're both gigalomaniacs, let's get along, I guess.
ギガロマニアックス
Gigalomaniacs? I remembered Kunosado using the word before, too.
我々は能力者のことをそう呼んでいる。ギガロマニアックスと。
That's the most unusual word I've heard for a psychic in a while. It's like they went out of their way to make a weird name for them. Not that I particularly mind. It's just
呼び方なんかどうでもいいです。それよりやっぱり信じられません。僕のそのサイコキネシスとかそんなの非科学的です。
It doesn't matter what you call them. I still can't believe my psychokinesis you called it. That's unscientific.
ああ、
That's...
サイコキネシスというのはお前がイメージしやすいようにそう言っただけだ。実際はもっと科学的な概念が存在する。
Psychokinesis is simply the word I use to make it easier for you to visualize. There's actually a more scientific concept that exists.
科学的
Scientific? I look at Aramar's sword skeptically. Scientific, that.
ああ無理ですよ久里さん。説明とかしてもさっぱりわかんないと思います。ちなみに私は一
Nice,
つも理解できてません。
I think you're wasting your time, Kunisado. Even if you explained it, he wouldn't understand a word. By the way, neither did I when she explained it to me.
お前と一緒にすんな。
Don't think I'm like you.
僕
I'm
はこれで
actually...
も
はいはい。
Right. Damn it, she was pissing me off.
理解などしなくていい。ただ最低限のことだけは覚えておけ。ギガロマニアックスの能力をカートゥーンに登場するような超能力と同じように使うな。
You don't need to understand it. What
そ
you
ん
need to
な安易な
understand
も
is
のでも
this.
愉快なものでもない。
Don't use your gigalomaniac power like you're in a cartoon. It's not that simple and it's not that pleasant.
何が違うって言うんです。
What's different?
ギガロマニアックスの能力とは簡単に言えば自らの妄想を現実に変換する力だ。
The ability of a gigalomaniac is, put simply, the ability to change their delusions into reality.
妄想現実に
Change
変換
delusions into reality? Really? What was she talking about? That wasn't scientific at all.
ディラックの海という言葉をまあ知らないだろうな。
Have you ever heard the Dirac Sea? Well, of course you haven't.
ディラックの海
Dirac Sea? Rika started to fidget on the sofa. She probably couldn't follow what we were talking about at all, but she could tell I was nervous.
確か量子力学の中の概念ですよね。
It's a concept from quantum mechanics, isn't it?
ほう、驚いたな。一階の高校生が知っているとは。
I'm surprised. I didn't expect a mere high school boy to know that. For some reason, a lot of people on the Japanese internet love relativity theory and quantum mechanics. Schrodinger's cat, for example, had been discussed so many times it was considered an embarrassment to bring it up. So that's like a basic bitch experiment, so I knew a little. Everyone knows that one.
真空を負のエネルギーに満たされた空間だと定義するんですよね。で、そこをディラックの海って呼ぶ。
It's defined as a vacuum filled with negative energy, right? The vacuum is the Dirac Sea?
ああ、そうだ。ディラックの海はマイナスエネルギーに満ちた世界ということになる。
That's right, the Dirac Sea is a world filled with negative energy. Kunosada looked at Arimura's hands as she held the D sword, and then Arimura smiled a little wickedly.
そのなんとかの海とこの剣を使って妄想を現実にできるんですよ。リアルブートっていうらしいですけどね。
And this, what's it see? Use it in the sword to make your delusions reality. It's called a real boot, supposedly.
リアルブート。
Real boot.
ディソードは剣の形をしているが、実はただの武器じゃない。ディラックの海に干渉し、現実との間のパイプとなる端末だ。
The D swords are shaped like weapons, but that's not all they are. They are terminals? That's not all they are. Okay, so they are actually weapons. They're terminals that let you affect the Dirac Sea, and they function as a pipe between it and reality.
ギガロマニアックスがその端末を用いると、本来、現実空間の中に存在できないはずの負のエネルギーを引き出すことができる。
By using these terminals, Gigalomaniacs can draw out more negative energy than should be able to exist in reality.
すると、ホールセオリーによるペアクリエーションで、粒子と反粒子が生まれる。それがエラーとなって、他人の脳のデッドスポットに影響を与えるんだ。
Then, in accordance with Hole theory, pairs of particles and antiparticles are created. They become errors which affect the dead spots of others' brains.
脳のデッドスポット
Brain? Dead spots? Really? Dead spots of the brain? I thought we were over that
デッド
theory.
スポットというのは、人間の脳における視覚野の視覚だよ。
But dead spots refer to blind spots in the visual area of the human brain.
そこに影響を与えられるということは、つまり、自分の妄想をそこへ送り込み、妄想通りのものを相手に見せられるということだ。
Affecting these areas means transmitting your own delusions into them so the target sees your delusion.
しかも、相手にとってそれは、完全な現実として認識される。
And the target experiences that delusion as a completely real phenomenon.
でもそんなのただの幻覚じゃないですか。催眠術と同じですよ。
Yeah, that's just a hallucination, isn't it? It's no different than hypnosis. I was gonna say, affecting your visual cortex shouldn't allow you to do supernatural things, right?
催眠術？そうか。じゃあ、その妄想を自分の周りの人間全員がリアルな現実だと共通認識してしまったらどうだ？
Hypnosis? Really? What if every single person around you recognizes that delusion as reality?
共通認識
Every single person?
そうだ。
That's
さら
right.
にそれが渋谷中の人間の共通認識になったら。
What if I meant by everyone, I meant every single person in Shibuya?
そしてその共通認識が東京中の人間、日本中の人間、果ては世界中の人間にまで広がっていったとしたら、
What if it spread to everyone in Tokyo? Then
一
in
体誰
Japan?
がそれを現実じゃないと否定できるんだ？
Then everyone in the world? Who would tell you it wasn't real?
それは
That's
そうしたら妄想はすでに作り事でも幻覚でもなくなる。紛れもない現実と化すんだよ。だからそれはリアルブートと呼ばれている。
At that point, your delusion is neither fiction nor hallucination. It becomes reality. And that's why we call it real booting.
そんなバカな。だってそんなことで現実がねじ曲げられるなんて。
That's impossible. There's no way you could alter reality like that. I rub my head with my fingers, trying to make sense out of all of this.
仮にいいですか。仮にですよ。僕がそのギガロマニアックスだったとして。
Let's just say hypothetically, and just hypothetically, mind you, I was one of these gigalomaniacs.
だけど閉まってるドアの鍵を開けるとか、そんな風に妄想が物理現象にまで影響を与えるなんて不可能ですよ。
It's impossible for a delusion to affect the real world, like opening a locked door.
私たち含め研究者たちも当初はそう考え 楽観視していた。だがそんな甘いものじゃなかったんだ。
All the researchers, including us, thought the same thing at first, but we were overly optimistic.
え
What?
物理現象すらねじ曲げるんだよ。ギガロマニアックスの妄想とそれによって共通認識化された現実は
The delusions of the Gigalomaniacs and the shared reality they create are capable of altering the physical world itself.
だからこそそれはこの上なく危険なんだ。
That's what makes them so dangerous. I looked at Arimura's sword, then back to Kunosato. Arimura was still smiling as she held the sword in front of me. I couldn't tell if the light it gave off was holy or evil, but for a moment it was so beautiful I shivered. Hey man, your next step should be to try and summon your sword. Come on, say the line. Say the line. It starts, I am the bone of my sword. Come on. Sorry, wrong franchise. The town was filled with noise that threatened to swallow her whole. It's like October 15th still. That was just the way she wanted it. Shibuya was a town that accepted anybody and rejected everyone. It was the only place that would let her be a part of it now. She moved her legs forward valiantly amidst the hustle and bustle. Oh, it's her. Forward, forward. Each step she took, her face twisted with horrible pain. Or at least that's how it seemed to her. She didn't know if the pain was actually appearing on her face. Her face was covered with scars and shielded by long hair that hid her hate. As she dragged her legs down the streets, no one in Shibuya stopped to look at her, and she was grateful for that. But at the same time, she hated it. A flame burned within her womb. It was a flame of hatred. She was nothing but hatred now. The businessmen who passed by her on the street, the empty-headed students, the happy couples, the miserable-looking old people, she hated everyone. But she hated them most of all. She hated the ones who had abandoned her. She hated the ones who'd done this to her. If they hadn't abandoned her, this never would have happened. The hatred burned within her. No, she was the hatred. The power she'd gained that day, it was all for this. Only the joy of revenge drove her forward. Forward, and then... She didn't notice the people who passed by her, that the people who passed by her turned back in surprise. She didn't realize it herself. But the woman was laughing. She was laughing so hard anyone could hear her, like black smoke from a flame rising towards the sky. She raised her voice and laughed. How goes it? Miyashiro is awakening. Not completely yet. What else? He seems to have finally remembered. Their existence? Yes. Of the sin he committed? Not yet. Understood. It's almost the day of judgment. Ooh, that sounds ominous. Oh, it's auto-saving. That wasn't me. That wasn't me quick saving. That was the game. How ominous. October 12th, 2015. Monday.
おい、あれじゃね？ほら、今流行ってる。
Is that the thing? The one that's really popular right now?
マジで？やばくね？てか、流行るっておかしくね？呪われるんしょ？マジやばくね？
That's crazy. What the hell is that popular? It's supposed to curse you, right? Isn't that crazy?
ほれ、一枚持ってこうぜ。
Come, let's take one.
やばいってそれ、マジやばいって。
Come on, that's crazy. Crazy.
あ、先輩、あれ例のやつじゃないですか？
Oh, is that the thing?
例のって
What thing?
え？先輩知らないですか？歴史シール。
You haven't heard about them? The sumo stickers?
シール
Sumo stickers?
いやいやいや、また。嘘っしょ？知ってて言ってるんしょ？
Oh, come on, you're joking, right? Don't tell me you've never heard of them.
いやマジで知らないって
No, I seriously haven't.
マジっすか？今めっちゃ流行ってるっすよ。
Seriously? They're really popular right now.
流行ってんのあんな気持ち悪いのが
Popular? They're creepy as hell.
いや、流行ってるってのとは違うか。ほら、例の連続殺人事件。
Infamous
あれの
is the
現
right
場にあ
word.
ったって話っすよ。
I guess popular isn't the right word. They were found at the sites of those murders. You know, the weird ones.
あのシールが
The stickers?
なんで
Wait, why?
なんでかは知らないっすけど、でもなんか意味あるんじゃないっすか？
I don't know why, but it probably means something, right?
力士シールね。なんかそのまんますぎだろ。もっといいネーミングねえのかよ。
Sumo stickers, huh? They couldn't have picked a better name? Apparently not.
ほら、ここにもあるじゃん、力士シー
Look, there's another sumo sticker.
ル。うわ、めっちゃ増えてんじゃん。
There's even more of them.
てか、あんた何やってんの？
Wait, what the heck are you doing?
これちょっと可愛くない？ほら、カバンとかつけたら。
Aren't they kind of cute? Like if you put one on your back?
うっそ、可愛いとこマジウケるんだけど。
You're kidding me,
どんな
right?
趣味よ。
Cute? What's wrong with you?
絶対これ流行るって。マジで。ねえ、あんたもそう思うっしょ？
I'm telling you, they're really popular, don't you think so?
それ近づけんのやめて。見てるとなんか気持ち悪くなんだよね。
Get the thing away from me. It makes me feel sick to look at.
ほ
Kind
ら
of.
気持ち悪いっつってんじゃん。
See it? See how that makes her
う
feel
っ
sick?
そ、可愛いって絶対。
No way, it's cute.
あれ
Be honest, do
So
you
then
think
何つけて
sumo
るんです
stickers
か？
are cute? Do you think the sumo stickers are cute? I'm not entirely sold on them. What did you put on that?
あ、これ？ほら、例の力士シール？おしゃれっしょ。
Oh, this? It's that sticker. Neat, huh?
あ、いいですね、それ。
Oh, I like it.
でしょでしょ？
Right, right.
これ流行らそうよ。T シャツとかにでっかくプリントとか可愛くない？
This is gonna be the next big thing. Wouldn't it look cute on a t-shirt?
あー、でも不謹慎とか言われそうじゃないですか？
Don't you think people would say it's inappropriate? I mean, I don't really think that was
あ
the case.
ー、不謹慎中とかうざいよね、マジで。でも大丈夫じゃない？みん
Sure,
なできればさ。
If we all wear them, no, you're never gonna find a group of people mindlessly wearing sumo shirts. That'd be sumo sticker shirts.
な
That'd be
んかグ
stupid.
ッズとか作ります？
Want to try and make some merch?
いいね。ソックスと
Great
か
idea.
さ、可
Like
愛いか
socks or
も。
something. Might be cute. You said
ちょ
sure.
い考えますか。
I'll think about it. Okay. They're getting really popular, are they? That's what I'm getting the impression of. The game's trying to tell us that they're getting really popular. Also, I like the H&M knockoff H&H.
どうした
They kept the same font. What's up?
なんか焦げ臭くね？
You smell something burning.
ああ、ここあったらしいぜ。
Oh yeah, it happened here, I heard.
何が？
What?
なんかほら、最近この辺で火つけて回ってるやついるらしいじゃん。連続放火？
You've heard about the person going around setting all the fires, right? The serial arsonist?
ああ、なんか聞いたそれ。
I did.
それもほれ、あれのせいじゃねえの？呪いのシールとかって。
It's supposed to be because of the curse sticker or whatever.
あれなんなのマジで。あれと一緒なんだろ？前のほら。
What's with that? Seriously? It's supposed to be the same as the last thing, right?
ニュージェネだろ？
New generation men?
そうそれ、ニュージェネ。あれの真似なんだろ？渋谷マジやばいって。
Yeah, that. The new generation madness. It's a copy of that. Stuff's getting really bad in Shibuya, man.
このように今回の事件の日付はすべてニュージェネレーションの狂気と呼ばれる6年前の事件と一致しております。
As you can see, the dates of all these incidents match the dates of the original new generation madness.
そこにどのような関連があるのかが注目されているわけですが、これについてはいかがでしょう？
People are asking what the connection could be. What are your thoughts on this?
そうですね。関連があるのはほぼ間違いないでしょうね。
Well, it's safe to assume there's some kind of connection.
ただ、現時点で全ての事件が同一犯であると決めつけるのはまだ時期尚早ではないかと思います。
At the moment, I think it's too early to assume these are all the work of the same perpetrator.
それはどうしてでしょう？
Why is that?
現場に残されていたという歴史シールは渋谷の街中のどこにでもあるという話ですし、入手するのは比較的簡単なんですね。
The sumo stickers found at the scene are also found everywhere in Shibuya. It should be easy to find one.
したがって何者かが同一犯の犯行とみなすために現場に残したという可能性も考えられます。
Thus, it's possible that someone left them at the scene to make it look like the same person was responsible for all the incidents.
その場合はやはり捜査の混乱を狙ったということでしょうか？
Do you think they're trying to confuse the police?
そういうことになりますね。特 特に今のようなネット社会ではそうした情報は早く出回りますし、騒ぎに乗じた便乗殺人ということもないとは言い切れないでしょうね。
Yes, that's what I think, especially in an internet-oriented society like us, like ours. Information like that travels fast. It's possible someone heard about the first case and decided to imitate it.
まだまだ謎の多い事件ですね。こちらの事件に関しては後ほど改めましてたっぷりと検証してい
Thanks,
きた
Miss
いと思います。
Generic News Anchor. You're not telling us anything new. We kind of already knew that, but I guess it's telling us that other people might be aware of this concept in general. All right, there's still a lot of mysteries to be solved here. I hope we get a chance to revisit this at a later date.
さて、次のニュースはこちらも東京渋谷ですね。
Now, an update on a series of arson attacks that have been taking place in Shibuya, Tokyo. Their Resistance, Chapter 6. Ooh. A new chapter. Alright. October 12th, 2015, Monday.
しかし信じられないな。まさかAH 東京総合病院でそんなことが。
I can't believe there was something like that in the basement of AH Tokyo General Hospital, though. Because Shinji frowned as he leaned back into the sofa inside the messy office. Furuya Corporation was located on the second floor of an old multi-purpose building in the Kuragaoka. Kuragaoka? At this hour, the 20 or so desks in the room were mostly empty, but that didn't mean things weren't busy. Investigation companies like Frisia did a lot of work outside the office. It was precisely because they were busy there was no one here. 3 people were having a serious discussion inside the empty office.
まあ新庄ちゃんが疑いたくなる気持ちはわかるけど。
I can understand why he'd be skeptical. In front of him was the CEO of Frisia, Katsuko Momose.
お前なんかに嘘をついて何の得がある？
Why would I waste my time lying to you? Mio Kunasato was sitting further away from him, not even bothering to conceal her displeasure. It was clear she had no intention of being friendly with him.
もちろん信じないと言っているわけじゃない。あの病院にいろいろ妙な噂があることだって知っている。
Of course, I'm not saying that I don't believe you. I know there's a lot of weird rumors about that hospital.
それにこうして生きた証人もいることだし。
And we got living proof too. Shinjo looked at the other person on the sofa. It was a tiny little
あの
girl.
子が本当に施設で被害者たちの世話を？
She was really taking care of the patients in the facility.
ああ、そうだ。
Yeah, that's right.
今彼女から事情は聞けそうかな。
Think we can get anything out of her now?
やってみてもいいが、失望するだけかもしれないぞ。
You can try, but you might be disappointed.
え？
What?
それがね。
Well, you see,
私帰ります。
I'm going back.
お願いします。
I'm going back. Please let me go back.
帰ります。あそこに返してください。
Please let me go
お願
back.
いします。
ずっとこの調子。帰りたいの一点張り。何を聞いたってろくに話してくれやしない。
That's all she ever says. That she wants to go back. She won't answer any of our questions.
百瀬さんが苦戦するのは珍しいな。
It's rare to see you having a hard time with anything, Momose. Shinjo stood up and dragged an office chair over to the sofa where the girl was sitting. He sat down as slowly as he could so as to not scare her and looked at her at eye level.
山添浮くん？
Uki Yamazoe, right? He tried to speak as softly as he could, but she still shivered at his voice.
怖がらなくていい。
No need to be scared.
俺、
I'm a
僕は
policeman.
おまわりさんだ。
Ah, he's a policeman.
おまわりさん。
Policeman?
そうだ。だから安心していい。
That's right, so don't worry.
おまわりさんなら助けてください。
You're a policeman, then help me.
もちろんだと思う。だから教えてほしいんだ。君を真っ暗な地下室に閉じ込
Ooh,
めたの
phrase that
は
question wrong. Of course, I want you to tell me who locked you in that dark basement.
私、あの人にさらわれてきたんです。だから助けてください。元の場所へ返してください。
These people kidnapped me. Help me, please, send me back. Yuki Yamazoe looked at Kunosada for just an instant, then looked back to Shinjo, begging.
ん？
これで私も立派な誘拐犯だな。逮捕してみるか？
I'm a kidnapper, you see. Want to arrest me?
チャーチャーを入れないでくれ。なあ、浮くん。何か勘違いしているようだけど、君は地下でひどいことをさせられてたんだ。だからこうして助け出されたんだよ。
Don't make this any more complicated. Yuki, you seem to be misunderstanding things, but you were made to do terrible things in that basement, and now you've been rescued?
ひどいことなんて何もありません。私はただ皆さんのお世話をしていただけです。それが私の仕事です。
There wasn't anything terrible. I was just helping everyone. That's my job.
だから戻らないといけないんです。私がいないと皆さんが困ってしまいます。
I have to get back. Everyone will have trouble without me. That explained why even a veteran like Mimosa was having trouble. Shinjo looked at the two and shrugged.
参りましたね。
I don't know what to do.
でしょ
Right?
聞いた限りだと地下の環境はかなり劣悪ですよね。普
What I've
通
heard.
女の子がそんなところに帰りたいって思うもんですかね。
Things in that basement were pretty bad. I wonder if a normal girl would want to go back there.
私ならごめんこむるわね。まあ、うちも仕事内容の劣悪さじゃ負けてないと思うけど。
I wouldn't. Well, what we do here might be just as bad. Mimosa-chan.
そいつの頭皮を見てみたが、
I took a look at her
ロボ
scalp.
トミーや電気ショックの痕跡はない。
There's no traces of a lobotomy or electric shocks.
ちゃんと脳の検査をしないと断定はできないが、多分長年の軟禁生活で自分の境遇に疑問を抱かなくなってしまったんだろう。
We won't know for sure unless we do a brain scan, but my guess is she's simply been locked in there for so long she stopped questioning it.
虐待されてる子供と同じか。
Same as an abused child, huh?
ああ、
Yeah.
どうしたもんかな。
I don't know what to do. Shinjo looked back at the girl who seemed as if she was about to cry and started to scratch his head. As of now, the police had no reason to make a move on AH General Hospital. None of the evidence he'd gathered had been acquired by legal means. He'd hoped that Yuki Yamazoe's testimony would allow her to function as a whistleblower, but that was looking unlikely.
そうだ。ウキ君、この少年を知ってるね。
Oh, Yuki, do you know this boy? Shinjo took a smartphone out of his pocket. It was one he'd borrowed from the younger officers. He picked out Takumi Yashiro's photo from the ones he'd taken of the people involved with the Heikyo Academy shooting. Or what? Shooting? Yeah, it was a shooting. Okay.
彼のスマートフォンを君は拾ったはずだ。
You picked up his
彼はそう
smartphone,
証言してる。
he says.
その人なら何回か会いました。でもそのスマートフォンって一体何ですか？
I've met him several times. What's a smartphone?
は？
What?
何？
What?
その子ね、最近のものは何も知らないわよ。
She doesn't know about anything that's newer than a few years old. Shinjo thought for a moment, then pointed to his own phone.
これがスマホだ。これと似たようなものを彼が落として君が拾った。覚えてないかな？
This is a smartphone. He dropped something like this and you picked it up. Do you remember? Yuki stared at the phone in his hands and then nodded softly.
やっぱりそうか。で、それをどうした？
I thought so. What happened to it?
落ちていた場所にすぐに戻しました。
I put it back where it was, right away.
戻した？君が持って行ったんじゃなくて？
You put it back? You didn't take it with you?
持ってなんていきません。なんだかわからないものは怖いです。
Oh, I wouldn't do that. Things I don't understand are scary.
でも宮代君によればそのスマホから電話がかかってきたって言うんだ。君がやったんじゃないのか？
But Miyoshiro says he got a call from that phone. Wasn't it you who did that?
スマホというのはそうやって写真を見る機械じゃないんですか？電話もかけられるんですか？
Smartphones and machines that show pictures like that, right? They can make calls too. Omose giggled a little. Shinjo glared at her and then turned the phone around and brought up a number from the address book. He tapped the number. The phone rang a moment and then an extremely irritated voice answered.
はい。もしもし、有村です。
Hello, this is Arimura. Oh my god. I'm just imagining him calling Arimura and being like, thanks for picking up. Hangs up. What a power move.
ほら、こうやって電話ができるんだよ。
See? You can make calls with it. She's gotta want to stab the guy for that, right? Shinjo turned up the volume so Uki could hear it. He didn't seem to care.
そうですか。
I see.
もしもし、一体何なんです？用がないなら切りますよ。
Hello, what's
私
this?
これからランチなんで。
If you don't have anything to talk about, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna go to lunch.
いや、用ならあるんだ。しかも大事な用が。
I do have
悪いんだけど、ちょっと力を貸して。
something to talk about. Something important. Can you help me with?
お断りします。
No.
即答はないだろ
I'll say let me finish.
ねえ新庄さん、私ってあなたの恋人かなんかですか？何かっていうとすぐに電話してきて、いやらしい。
He actually did that. Listen, Shinja, am I supposed to be your girlfriend or something? You're always calling me. It's kind of lewd. Oh, that's her thought. That's her thought. She's like, oh, it's lewd. Stop calling me.
う。いやいやいや、待
No,
って待って。
listen.
別にそういうつもりじゃ。
I didn't mean. Of course you didn't.
ならストーカーってことでいいですね。
Oh, so you're a stalker, right? Yeah, of course. Just call this nice lady up every time.
よくない。困ってるんだ。助けてくれよ。
I'm not. I'm in trouble. I need your help.
うわ、出た。女の敵の決まり文句。それでお小遣いをせびったり、お金のために変なバイトをさせたりするんですよね。最低のダメ人間。
That's what all the bad boys say. Then you beg me for money or make me do weird jobs to earn cash for you. You make me sick. Isn't she like 14?
真面目に聞いてくれよ。
Be
大切な
serious.
話なんだ。
This is
頼
important.
む。
Please. Shinjo finally managed to quiet her down, and then told her about the AH Tokyo General and Uki Yamazoe. And then he asked Uki a few more detailed questions, this time so she could hear. And as a result...
どうだ、有村さん。
Well, Aimura?
全部白ですよ。真っ白。その子、嘘は一つもついてません。
She's totally clean. She didn't tell a single lie.
あと、今回の一連の事件についても本当に何にも知らないですね。その子が犯人と関係あるとか思ってます？だったら空振りもいいとこですよ。
And she really doesn't know anything about these incidents. You think she's got something to do with the killer? Then you're wasting your time.
そっか。
I see. Shinjo's shoulders slumped when he heard that. He saw that Kunisato's did too. She probably thought she could learn a lot of what she wanted to know from Yuki Yamazoe. Kunasato frowned, then looked at the
有
ceiling.
村さん、助かった。ありがとう。今度なんかご馳走するよ。
Armor, thanks. You're a big help. I'll take you to lunch or something.
はあ？それってもしかしてデートに誘ってるつもりですか？だったら絶対に嫌なんですけど。
Are you asking me out on a date? Hell no.
未成年をデートになんて誘ったら警察クビだよ。じゃあまたな。
If I took a minor out on a date, I'd lose my job. Anyway, talk to you later.
だってもうこういうのやめてくださいよ。
Stop
だからわかるんです。
Stop calling me. How many times do I have to? That awkward moment when you get called to do an impromptu lie detector test. He then ended the call before Armor could say anything further, and finally, the room fell quiet. This is rough. What the hell are they doing now? No one spoke for a while. The only sound was Uki Yamazoe mumbling, I want to go home, as she stared at her feet.
まあ、その子に関しては、もう少しうちで預かることにするわ。
Well, we'll keep her here for a while.
って言っても、食事と寝る場所の提供くらいで、大したことはできなさそうだけど。
There's not much we can do beyond give her food and a place to sleep. Momose stood up and rolled her tired neck. There was an unhealthy popping sound.
それでも十分助かります。
Seriously, what are you planning on doing with this girl? Anyway, that'd be a big help.
あっちの方は一からやり直しか。
So we're starting over from nothing with AH General then?
一からってことはないさ。地下施設の本格的な操作ができないか手を考えてみる。
Not completely. I'll try to come up with a new way to do a real search of that underground facility.
なんとかなるの？正式な手続きを踏んだところで、またどこかから圧力がかかるわよ。
Can you? If you file the appropriate paperwork, they're just gonna pressure you to shut it down again.
でしょうね。
I'm sure.
でしょうねって。
You're sure
あん
that...
た
ま、そこら辺は適当に口実をでっち上げます。ダメならダメで、やりようはあると思うんで。
Well, I can come up with an excuse. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I think I can do something.
それに、お天道様のもとにさらしてしまえば、いくらなんでも無視はできないでしょうからね。
If I can get this into the public, I don't think they'll be able to ignore it.
ふーん。
なんです
What? Did I say
何かお
something
かしな
strange?
ことを言いましたか？
似てきたじゃない？あの人に。
You're starting to remind me of that.
そいつは喜んでいいんですかね。
Is that really something I could be happy about?
どうかしら。少なくともいい死に方はしないわね。
I don't know. If nothing else, you're probably in for a gruesome death. He's probably not lying. Alright. Ah, perfect! Back to reading forums. Popular online journalist Tomoaki Watabe was murdered on the afternoon of the 10th at a school in Shibuya. The police have become more convinced the killer in this case is the same one, as the other murders are patterned after the return of the New Generation Madness 7 years ago. Watabe visited the school to talk to students and coughed up sumo stickers, dying when he went on stage. His stomach was filled with large numbers of the mysterious sumo stickers, and it's believed they're what choked him. As the sumo stickers are seen everywhere on the streets of Shibuya these days, they seem to think it will be impossible to track down where the killer found them. Watabe had previously pointed out the relationship between sumo stickers and other mysterious deaths that took place on the 7th, 14th, and 30th of last month. Police are assuming there's a connection there. Gotsuan desu. Gotsuan desu. Gotsuan desu. In before a viral marketing scheme by sumo wrestler people. Obviously the kids who was interviewed did it. Gotsuan desu. So wait, we're calling this one the Gotsuan death? If you guys want to see a sumo sticker that bad, just look in the freaking mirror. There's a huge shadowy conspiracy involved in this. The victims are people who tried to find out about the conspiracy. The ones behind it are the ones behind the original New Generation Madness. They're also the ones who eliminated the person who designed the sumo stickers. I bet the kids he was going to talk to are in danger too. So what, you're a sumo sticker truther? He's reading between the lines. It's the killer, JK lol. Look at your ID, dude. Wait, what? 991? His ID is sumo! Nice! Nice! Gotsuande. 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 This thread's almost 1,000 posts long. Why do you guys like sumo so much? Wait, did they skip? Yeah, they did skip a bunch. Alright. If this is post 1,000, I'm gonna win the next sumo tournament. Oh shit, guess someone's gonna be participating in sumo. Best of luck, buddy.
物体を動かす力、いわゆるテレキネシスと呼ばれるもの、それが先輩の力です。
Power to move objects, telekinesis, they call it. That's your power. And she distinctly called me senpai.
僕の
Think it's time for a drink? But man, that girl, I feel sorry for that poor girl. She has some like hardcore Stockholm syndrome. That's pretty brutal. So like, they captured her. They kind of took her hostage and dragged her out of that situation. But the police can't investigate that because she won't admit to it. And the other people are there and it's like a hidden place. It's like a hidden base under the sub-basement. And if the hospital gets noticed, they'll move everyone. So they'll never have an opportunity to, find out what the fuck's going on. That's rough. I don't know what I would do in that spot. Especially because the police probably seem to not want the guy to make any noise for any reason. I swear though, if you could like, could you not like go to like a judge and be like, hey, I think there's this thing happening in the basement. I don't know what's going on, but someone told me that they were literally taking people prisoners and lobotomizing people down in a sub-basement. Can I investigate it? They even told me how to get in. They told me there's this key card, blah, 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 blah. We might need power tools to get in. If they don't give it, I don't want anyone to escape. Like, couldn't they do something like that and just have like 400 cops show up? It'd be nice if you actually had the power to do that, but surely an underground operation like this, you'd definitely be like, hey, can we get the manpower to like unfuck this? You know, this could be a big scandal for the hospital, and they're gonna try and hide it. Like, oh yeah, they're doing illegal human experimentation in a hidden sub-basement. I have people who can get in. People said they came in. I don't want to like repeat that because they may have broken the law doing it. So I want to wait. Like, surely there's got to be a reasonable legal way to get access to the building, sub-basement, right? Oh well. My power. Your power is telekinesis, buddy.
念じてみてください。動けと心の中で。
Focus on it with your mind. Make it move.
念じる
Focus on it in my mind.
心の中で動け動け動け
Move, move, move.
動け動け動け動け動け動け動け動け
He's just screaming at it to move, 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 move. It's not gonna work, is it? Move already.
見て、机
Wow,
の上の
the
本が。
book on the desk.
マジかよ。
Seriously, it's floating.
浮いてやがる。
Arimura, hold up. Arimura doing a pog face. Telekinesis best power. Telekinesis is a good fucking power, man. If you can master it, that's really good. A book, not the scariest, but that's still quite impressive.
動い
It moved.
驚きました。これは私が思っていた以上の力かもしれません。
I'm surprised. This might be more powerful than I thought.
宮代拓君の能力この目でじっくりと見させてもらった。
Kurumi is sure I've seen your power now with my own eyes.
久野里さん。
Kurosada-san. Oh no.
これからはその能力を使って私の渋谷ニュースを手伝ってくれないか。
From now on, will you use your power to help Shibuya News? We're not helping the city. We're helping the Shibuya News Network.
僕が渋谷ニュースを。
She wants me to help with Shibuya News.
私には
I need your
君
power.
の力が必要なんだ。
はい。喜んで。
With pleasure, yes. He gets to simp for his favorite internet waifu. That's great, Taku.
すごいじゃねえか、宮代。
You're amazing, Miyashiro.
まあ、
Watch this.
これくらい当然だよ。
They haven't given us a hint, but watch this entire scene be his fantasy delusion, and in reality, he's just fucking up. Of course, this is nothing. Taku!
宮代。
Miyashiro.
タクねえ、タクったら。
Taku, come on, Taku.
これくらい大した
This is nothing.
大したこと。
Nothing. And it's a dream. What?
あ、起きた。
He's up.
ここ。
This is my room? What was that? That was a dream just now? I looked at the clock. It was apparently well into the afternoon and approaching evening. I see. He was fantasizing about telekinetic lifting a book. I remembered now. I'd met with Arimura and Kunosato at Cafe LAX and come back here late last night, still confused. After that, I'd gone home and thought, and then done some research on the internet, and then finally got to sleep around sunrise. That's why I was only getting up now.
たく、人が心配して来てやったのに気持ちよく寝てやがるんだもんな。
I came here because I thought I was worried about you, and you're peacefully asleep.
えへへ。タクはのんきだね。
Talk is so relaxed.
うわなんだお前ら。
What are you guys doing here? Surprised, I left out of bed.
なんだってご挨拶だ
That's
な
some
君は。
みんなタクを心配して様子を見に来たんだよ。
Everyone came to see you because we were worried.
心配
Worried about me?
僕を
Why?
なんで。
だってね
Because, well,
え、
you
花
know,
ちゃん。
right? Hannah?
うん。
Even Hannah's here, damn.
和樹、
Kazuki, you
お
too.
前まで。
How badly did things go? It was a tiny room, but I'd only just realized she was here now.
ちょっとタク、そういう言い方はひどいよ。花ちゃんだってずーっと気にしてたんだから。
Alright.
ね
Taki, that's a mean thing to say. Hannah's been worried about you this whole time too, right? Okay. That was surprising. Kazuki was so worried about me she'd come all the way out here. I figured no matter what happened, she'd be sitting in the club room playing ESO too.
てか大げさなんだよ。そんなに心配しなくたって。
Come on, guys, you don't have to be that worried.
でもよ、結構いろんなことあったろ昨日。
No, a lot happened yesterday, right?
そうだよ。のんちゃんも気にしてたよ。
Right, Non was worried too. Everyone's worried.
クルスが。
Bruce was worried? About me?
うん。
My mother.
昨日のことベラベラ喋ったりしてないよな。
You didn't tell her everything that happened last night, did you? Uh-oh. Sarika, I don't like that pause, Sarika. Sarika looked confused.
もしかして話したのか
Did you? Oh no, don't do that, Sarika. Why? Oh my god, we're gonna get murdered. The stuff about psychic powers too? Oh, come on, Sarika. We're gonna get killed.
なんで言っちゃう
She's
んだ
gonna
よ
murder us. Why did you tell her? Exactly, Takuru.
だってのんちゃんには隠し事してもバレちゃうんだもん。
Because even if you hide things from Non, she finds out. Looks like apparently Onoe-chan has the same problem we do. Yeah, Karus is pretty sharp. I couldn't imagine a girl like Sarika being able to hide anything from her. I gave up and fell back into
い
bed.
けなかったかな。
Oh. Should probably end it before Karus kills you. Should I not have? Oh boy. If it's the last thing she does, Non's gonna fucking kill me. Sarika looked apologetic as she fiddled with her Garo froggy strap. That's right, just play with that Garo froggy strap. Feel guilty. Oh, we're so screwed.
話しちゃったもんは仕方がない。
It's fine. If you've told her, there's nothing I can do about it now. Knowing Cruz. He was probably really upset now.
で、
So?
それでクルスはなんて
What did she say?
ああ、私は今動けないから代わりにあなたたちがタクのそばにいてあげてって。
She said since she couldn't move right now, she wanted us to stay with you.
それだけか。あいつのことだからもっといろいろ言われただろ。危険なことするな
Yeah.
とか
Is that all
能
she
力なんて
said?
バカなとかな
She
んとか
probably talked your ear off or screamed your ear off, saying shit like, "Don't do anything dangerous. Psychic powers are stupid. They can't be real. Abandon whatever you're doing." Something like that, right?
そんなことなかったよ。
Not really. Really? She's given up? Did we
だって
finally
あの
win the
クルスだ
Battle of
ぞ。
Wills?
それだけのはずないだろ。
It's Cruz we're talking about here. That can't be all she said.
それだけ。
Oh, that's all she said. Press X to doubt. Where's my prompt? Press X to doubt. The X button just hides the text. But I'm just demonstrating. I doubt that's all she said. Right? I rubbed my eyes, still sleepy. Something didn't seem right.
ああ、そうだ。昼間、新庄さんから電話あったぞ。お前が探してるスマホのことで。
Oh, that's right. There was a call from Shinjo this afternoon about the phone you're looking for. Oh. Ito slapped his hands together as if he'd just remembered something important. I quickly stood up. That was one of my biggest concerns right now.
新庄さんなんだって。
What did Shinjo say? I eagerly pressed Ito for more information. Shinjo said he intended to spend the whole day getting information out of the Yuki Yamazoe girl. Of course, I told him many times to ask about that phone. Probably he had.
ああ、
About that.
それがな。
He doesn't even know what a smartphone is. But the answer I got was the one I wasn't expecting.
あの子は持ってない。
She doesn't have it?
ああ、一度拾ったけど、すぐに元の場所へ戻したそうだ。
Yeah, she picked it up, put it right back, she said.
そんな言い訳、新庄さんは信じたのか。
And Shinjo believed that. Really?
有村が確認したんだと。嘘はついてないって。
Arimura checked it out. She's telling the truth.
有村が
Arimura did? Which meant she wasn't lying.
じゃあ、僕の携帯から伊藤に謎の着信があったの。
Then that weird call from my phone to yours.
それも彼女は無関係だってさ。
She had nothing to do with it, supposedly.
そっか。
I see.
つまり、スマホを持ち去った犯人が別にいるってことか。
In other words, someone else took my phone. Then who had the phone in that picture? And how and why they managed to use my phone to call and threaten us?
とにかく、宮代のスマホは引き続き捜索してくれるそうだ。だからさ、とりあえず新しいのを買ったらどうだ？
Anyway, he says he's gonna keep looking for it. For now, why not just buy a new one? What?
タクはね、やっぱり私たちの真ん中にいる部長なんだよ。だからね、タクと連絡取れなくて困ることいっぱいあるんだ。今日も一日中心配しちゃったし。
You're still called President and our leader, right? It's a big problem if we can't get in touch with you. We were worried all day today for one thing.
あと、
I mean, if you've
ワ
been
ンちゃん
sleeping, you
ね、
wouldn't have answered, right?
タクとお話ししたいときにすごく困るって言ってた。
No one said it was really hard when she wanted to talk to you, but we don't answer to none anyway.
そっか。
I see. I'm the leader. It felt kind of embarrassing, but I knew that only these guys would say something like that.
確かに今のままだと。
It's true, I won't be able to talk to everyone now if something happens.
みんなと
You kind of need the phone at the very least to be able to say that something happened or you found something out, right? It's pretty important to be able to communicate right now. You're right, I'll get a new smartphone soon. I'll get a new phone soon, sorry. Rika smiled happily.
で、昨日の話の続きなんだけどさ。
So about what we were talking about yesterday. What are you whispering about?
続きって
What
どの
were we
話
talking
の
about
続きだ
yesterday?
久野里さんの言ってた能力だよ。本当にありそうなのか？
Those psychic powers that Kunasato was talking about, do you think they really exist?
ああ、それわからないな。ちょっと非科学的すぎるし。
About that, I don't know. It seems a little too unscientific. You literally saw someone manifest a sword in front of you and no one else could see it.
でも、最初に超能力がどうのって言い出したのは宮代じゃなかったっけ？
You were the first to talk about psychic powers, weren't you?
それは。
Well,
お前には見えたんだよな。有村が出した剣みたいなの。
you could see the sword thing Armura had, right?
まあ、見えるには見えたけど。
Oh, I could, but... Armura's sword, I think she called it a die sword. D sword. Definitely looked real. Definitely looked real.
そいつが見えたってことは、やっぱお前は能力者ってことだろ？久野里さんもそう言ってたし。
If you could see that, it means you're a psychic, right? Like, Kunasato said so too.
伊藤、相変わらず久野里さんの言うことは信用するんだな。あれだけひどい目に遭わされたのに。
Ito. You still believe everything Kunasato says, huh? Even after everything that happened to you? She treated him pretty badly in the basement of the hospital. Maybe he was into that? He's coming to the same conclusion I am, like, an hour and a half later. He's like, maybe he's into that shit.
おいおい、なんだよその目は。俺は別にそういう趣味はねえぞ。
Don't look at me like that. It's not my fetish or anything. Oh, it's not your fetish? Alright.
いや、
No, wait.
そういえばお前、クルスを怒らせるようなこともよく言うよな。あれもわざとじゃ。
No, wait. You're always trying to piss off Karus, aren't you? Are you sure that's not deliberate?
うわー、しんちゃんって変態さんだったんだね。
Wow, Shin's a pervert, huh?
やめろよお前ら。
Stop
そん
it,
な
guys.
ことより、宮代の能力の話をしてんだ、今は。
Anyway, we're talking about Miyashio's power right now. Ito dragged us to the original topic. This was definitely suspicious. Yeah, he's avoiding the
能力とか言われ
question.
たって自分の意思で使えたことなんてないしさ。
I mean, I don't know about any psychic powers. I've never been able to use one when I wanted.
ラブホテルとか病院の地下とか、鍵を開けたのは僕の能力だって有村や久野里さんは言ってたけど、半信半疑なんだよ。
I remember when Kunasato said the locks to the hospital and the Love Hotel opened because I wanted them to, but I'm not sure if I believe that. The door to the hotel room might never have been locked in the first place, and the others might all be coincidence, right?
ちゃんと試してみたのか？
Did you try?
試す？
おう、
Yeah.
だってさ、やってみなきゃ使えるかどうかわかんねえ
You
だ
won't know
ろ。
if you can do it unless you try, right?
コツさえつかめば案外できるかもしれないもんね。
It might be easy once you know the trick. Even the normally disinterested Kazuki was staring at me with curiosity. It was rare to see her like this. Maybe that's why she's... Yeah, I'm like, do you really have superpowers? Fuck it, I'll go find out. Alright, I'd do that too. I'd be like, yeah, video games? No, wait. Someone has magic powers and they're like not joking. And we think they're real? Shit, alright, sign me up. Let's have a look. I'll just be envious that I don't have them. And maybe she was interested in psychic powers in the occult? Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
それともタク、一人で試してみたりした？
Did you try it on your own? It didn't work? If that's the case, that's too bad, but...
違うよ。
No.
僕がそんな馬鹿げたこと一人でやるわけないだろ。
I wouldn't do anything stupid like that by myself. I lied. Actually, last night I tried and it hadn't worked.
じゃあやってみようよ。ね？いいじゃん。減るもんでもないし。
Let's try it. Come on, it's not gonna hurt you.
けどやるったってどうす
But
れば。
how? I like how he's lying about having tried it. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't try anything like that. That'd be dangerous. And it's like, you've done it 20 times. You've done it like 5 times in your life.
やっぱ強く念じるとかじゃね？
Maybe like focus hard? I tried that. It didn't work.
ほらほら、タク、念じて念じて。
Come on, Taku, focus, focus.
念じるって何よ。
Focus on what?
そうだな。例えばほら、そこにある本を動かしてみるとか。
Like, you know, on moving that book there. And now this was just like my dream.
わかったよ。やるよ。やってみる。けど期待はするなよ。
Fine, I'll do it. I'll try, but don't get your hopes up, okay?
大丈夫大丈夫。
Fine, it'll be fine.
5本。それでは挑戦していただきましょう。宮代拓郎くんです。パチパチパチ。
Let's see him take the challenge. Takuru Miyashiro, ladies and gentlemen, can he do it? Clap, clap. He actually said clap. Suddenly, Sarika stood up straight and gave me an introduction and a round of applause. I had no choice but to stand in front of the book and get ready. I raised both hands slowly and concentrated. Move, move, move. Move, move.
動け。動け、動け、動け、動け。
Move. I think you need to be more specific with your delusion. The book is open. The book is open. The book is open. Rather than just saying make it move.
動け。
Nothing happens, right? I stuck my hand out quickly, and then the page of the book slowly started to... Nothing.
やっぱ動かないね。
It's not moving, huh?
だろう。だからできないって言ったんだよ。
I told you, right? I can't do it.
ちぇ、なんだつまんねえの。
That's lame. Hannah's beating up on our house now. Hannah really doesn't like our house.
ほら、カズキ。
Come on,
人んち
Kazuki.
の壁を殴るな。
Don't punch the wall of my house. See?
でもよかったね、タク。
I'm still glad though, Taku. Sarika opened one of my mountain views and smiled. I hadn't seen her take it from the fridge.
あ、俺にも一本。
Oh, I'll take one too. Sarika handed Ito the plastic bottle she was holding and then took 2 more out from the fridge, giving one to Kazuki.
おい、お前ら、人のものを勝手に。後で金払ってもらうからな。
Those are mine, guys. You better pay me back later.
なんだよ、ケチくせえな。
Oh, come on. Don't be so stingy.
一人暮らしは何かと金がかかるんだよ。てか、尾上、僕にも一本。
This man lives and breathes Mountain Dew. He's everything that the wait, who does Mountain Dew? But Pepsi? He's everything that PepsiCo wants him to be. Practically lives off the shit. If you injected it into his veins, it would be too diluted for him. Alright. Living on your own is expensive. Actually, I'll take one too, oh no. That was 4 bottles in total. I'd have to go buy a new pack.
Thank you.
Thanks.
で、
So,
何がいいんだよ。
why are you glad?
さっき言ったろ。よ
You
かっ
just
た
said
ね
you
っ
were
て。
glad.
ああ、うん。だってさ、
Yeah, oh, yeah, because,
もしもタクにそんな能力があったら、命を狙われるかもしれないってことでしょ？
if you did have that power, it might mean your life was in danger, right?
あ、命を狙われる？
My life would be in danger? All the other people who died were psychics, so technically you'd be on the hit list for the serial killer. After everyone left, Sarika's words repeated again and again in my mind.
もしも特にそんな能力があったら命を狙われるかもしれないってことでしょ？
If you did have the power, it might mean your life was in danger, right? It's true, though, right? There was a chance that all the victims of these murders, calling them the return of the new generation madness, had psychic powers. That was the conclusion I'd reached as well. If I had the power that Kunosato and Arimura said I did, I could be a victim too. And Arimura had said before.
あなた、殺されますよ。宮代拓先輩。
That's right, she said we're gonna be killed.
殺される
Killed me?
僕が
What the hell's going on? Normally I'd be excited that my theory about psychic powers had been proved correct, although you can't really replicate them on demand, that's unfortunate. But instead, why did I have to start worrying that they'd come after me?
どう考えたっておかしい
Doesn't
だ
make sense. It doesn't make sense. For one thing, I couldn't use any psychic powers. See, I tried. Nothing moved. I focused. Nothing started floating. I knew for a fact I didn't have any powers, so even other people said I did. But what if? What if the killer mistakenly thought I did, the same way Arimura and Kunosato did? Ooh, that'd be a problem if someone thought you did and you didn't. Why not ask how to fabricate the sword? In that case, even if they were wrong, my life would still be in danger. That's crazy. No, wait, that's crazy. What was that sound? The door? Again. Was someone here? The others had just left. There was no one else who could come here. No way. Would it be someone who wanted to kill me? No way. You're kidding me, right? You gotta be kidding me. I can't use them. I don't have any powers. No, no, stay back, stay away. Stay away. I'm not a psychic, I'm not. Despite my pleas, the door slowly opened. Oh. What's all this? What's all this noise? Oh, it's Gen. Gen-san. Gen-san. Taku, I just got back. Don't scare me like that. I staggered back and sat down on the bed. Praise the sun, it wasn't another murder. I don't think Kurus would come get us. She's still injured, and she didn't come see us after the events of last night. She sent other people, so her arriving seems unlikely. And I was nice enough to bring you your favorite food, too. Oh, I know. I bet you were hoping I was a girl, huh? Of course not. Look, Kurus would be nice. He's still recovering. I think she's taking it seriously. That's the way it is with boys your age, so here you go. Gen tossed me an issue of Cool Cat Press, then stuck out his hand. To be honest, I didn't feel like it, but... Is 500 yen enough? Thanks for your business. Now I can enjoy another cold one. Huh? Try saving up. You fool, and a real man never saves up more money than he needs to get through the night. Listen up, Taku. If you're a man, don't be stingy or the girls. Right. Go home. He's mad. Well, at least we didn't get killed, okay? I pushed Gen out of the room and shut the door. The room became strangely silent once more. The occasional passing of a train seemed exceptionally loud, but when it was gone, the silence returned. Shibuya Station was close, but once you got even a little bit away, it became like this. Normally, I love the silence, but today I felt a little lonely. Don't look at me. Leaky noise, revolving dead, and Gotsuan death. They all had stupid names, but they were all brutal murders. And
もしもタクにそんな能力があったら命を狙われるかもしれないってことでしょ
if you had that power, it might mean your life was in danger. Yeah, not a great thought.
くそ
Damn it, there's no
冗
way.
談じゃない
There's no way. I flipped open the new Cool Cat Press to take my mind off it. The page read, "Polish your hidden talents to make girls love you." October 12th, 2015, Monday.
はい終わり
Oh, it's Nell's perspective. I wonder what she's thinking about all this psychic stuff. It's a little bit strange. I'd like to know more, but I'm afraid we're gonna have to find out how Non, Yui, and Yuto are doing next time.